Wizard of Oz can't undo what I've done. Completely out of luck this time. I'm stuck in reverse. I gotta get away now, but I can't seem to take the lead. Oh baby, how could I know there was no second chances? Like dominoes, my life got really scattered. Still, I find myself hoping that you'll find your way back to me. 'Cause I've been stone cold since you left me here. So come home, why won't you reappear? Things that I said came out totally wrong. Can't speak of the truth when it's tainted. I fell into a big black hole. It got me stone cold. You got me stone cold. You got me stone cold. You got me stone cold. Got me stone cold.
Hello everybody at home, good evening. We have finally come around to another Badass University All-Stars matchup, and I am your host, Jerry the Music Man. I am joined by my wonderful hosts in the red over here, Whippet, and we've got some games. We've got a couple of fantastic university-based sides here, and yeah, I can't wait to get things started. This is like a crazy day for me. I've been super busy and my mind is kind of gone. So Whippet, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling excited for this matchup. I should shake the cobwebs away. I had a long night last night
Oh God,
casting
you
over
did.
the pond in NA, but I certainly say nothing North America can throw at me is anything as good as what I've seen so far in the university's scene. Especially here. I mean, I've seen so many teams battle it out head to head, and I've seen some fantastic results. And one of those big moments at the very opening Playday was ideal. Now Max
Oh yeah,
D, who broke that kill record, and guess who we're going to get to see in action yet again today? It's going to be the man, the myth, the legend himself.
ideal. And yeah, it's so difficult to avoid the pun when we're casting him because he is just an incredible player, and the opportunity comes up way too often. But yeah, I can't wait to see him in action. That first match was probably one of my highlights casting easily in the past few months. It was an absolute barn burner on Chalet, and it gave us a real good introduction to the newest map to the pool. Max dropped, was it 26 kills in that game? It was something outrageous like that with an ace on match point to win it. So yeah, he's already set the bar impossibly high for us. But hopefully we get just as entertaining a game. Well, okay, yeah, we can't get just as entertaining a game as that. This is the worst thing, right? You can't top that game. You cannot top that game. I don't care. It will be like we'll get to the end of the season, we'll have the grand finals, and that will still be my favorite game of the season. But we can only hope. The bar's been set high, like I said.
It really has. I mean, it's going to take an absolutely monumental performance to get ahead of that and show it. Oh man, but I still think there's that potential. I think someone,
Yeah.
it might be ideal again, or it could be anyone on one of these fantastic rosters that can step up and put on an absolute show. And well, we've seen lots of those moments from individuality of people just popping up as individuals and getting lots of kills and all of those highlight reel moments. And hopefully we get to see more of that as we move into this matchup. As you saw as our screen before we went on live, the first matchup is going to be Imperium of Mandem versus Princesses. And an interesting thing, yeah, looking at yesterday's results, we saw the current leader of the pack, Team Triton, not be able to get that victory, falling to lockdown Ludens, meaning that first place standing is very much available for Princesses who currently sit in second place. Can they jump up and find that place? Can they get themselves on top of the leaderboard yet again? I certainly think it's in the realm of possibility, but Imperium of Mandem, they've been making improvements as a team, and I think they're going to put up a good fight here.
It certainly will, and that Team Triton game yesterday against Lockdown Ludens, about the biggest upset we've had so far, or the closest thing to an upset that we've had in the league so far, and it's really shaken up the standings. No one with a perfect record now, and so it really is all to play for. And we are going to have a quick look at the standings for the first game, of course, Princesses versus Imperium of Mandem. This is my first time getting to see Imperium of Mandem. Obviously, the Princesses they've got Ideal. That is them. As far as I'm concerned, they are Ideal +4. No, I'll give them the due respect once we actually do get to see the rosters. But here we see the schedule for tonight, and it's Coconut Cracked. The second match against it was Sniper Monkeys. So here we are, finally, these rosters. The Princesses, V7 Max, the man himself, Zodi, Mr. Joe, and So What. 3 of those hailing from Newcastle as well there. I forget the name of their team. It's the Newcastle. It's like a play on words. It's Newcastle, but not Newcastle. It's like I've forgotten it completely. It's really smart. Once we find out what that is, I will let you know. And Imperium of Mandem, like I said, this is my first time having seen these guys in action since the end of last season. Some of these names are definitely familiar to me. We've got Scipio, Angelix, Rose, DJ7, and the Dob.
I mean, I've seen both these teams play already, and I really have to say, Princesses, while they have the statement piece, they have the performances, the bank, and the star power of Max D so far. Imperium Mandem have been making improvements. Their cohesion as a 5-man unit's been getting better. They're really starting to kind of find that rhythm and routine playing with each other, and hopefully we might be able to see that team put up a great fight here, because, again, we've seen upsets all through our first part of this Playday so far. Yesterday it was upset after upset, and this is just going to be, I think, the Playday so far feels like it's going to be leaning to the underdogs, and certainly going into this, I'd imagine everyone at home is bagging Imperium of Mandem to be in that underdog role. And Princesses, if they can't convert this game into a victory, they're going to remain second in the standings for that little bit longer, and that's going to be a massive shake-up in the midfield of all things considering after this Playday. And well, that's what you love to see. You love to see it just get to a point where teams in the midfield are battling away, taking points off the big dogs. I mean, this is what you love to see. Everyone's so tightly compact so far in this league, and one upset result, one major decision, or one even overtime result can completely turn the tide of our standings. And oh, I love it. I absolutely love how competitive the season's been.
Yep. Well, I mean, I'm super excited mainly to see Imperium of Mandem for the first time, because having a look at their results, they've been very on top of things. They had one loss, and that was against Triton. That was only 7-5. So honestly, they're, you know, in the middle of the standings, but they could be scary, quite honestly. I'm really looking forward to seeing them again, all for the first time. Princesses, I know, are just fantastic. They haven't lost a game yet. They did manage to drop some points, having that first Playday go all the way to overtime against Froggers. But since then, they've sealed things out in increasingly strong fashion. 7-5 against the Randy Ravens and 7-4 last week against Sniper Monkeys. So, one team that's getting steadily better, another that is pretty much there. Their most recent victory against Lockdown Losers was a 7-0, the first 7-0 of the season, Imperium and Mandem, on Oregon. So we know that they can smash teams apart if they want to. But yeah, I think the real talking is just going to be done on the battlefield today.
And I think that's a great summary of going in this, because, you know, yesterday when I was kind of theory crafting before we wanted the team Triton versus Lockdown Ludens, it was very hard to decide what was going on, but I kind of went on the basis, you know, Team Triton, top of the leaderboard for a reason, so they would have an advantage going into it. But I was completely proven wrong. Lockdown Ludens showed up with a massive performance from themselves, and again, they're lunging their way in, striking at the heart, or striking at the head of the table as it may be, and finding that results. And keep an eye on that, because I think as this season begins to get further and further into the deeper waters, the business end, the midfield teams, knowing that they have to make that surge up to get to top 4, are going to start finding that extra bit of momentum, because as VODs get more readily available, teams lose their comfort picks due to the autoban getting in play. This could be super interesting as we move into the deeper water. And I really think there's going to be a shuffle. I think there's going to be a surge from midfield teams up to that top 4, and it is going to be a brawl to hold on to those very vital 4 places.
There could be, and it's one of the kind of unique defining factors about this league that I often bring up at the start of broadcasts, that these teams have come together almost exclusively for this. Some teams actually do compete outside of BUL in this kind of mixed university students configuration. For instance, Lockdown Ludens recently tried to qualify for the ECS league, and we saw them not quite make the cut there, but it's nice to see these teams kind of stick together and then find a place outside it as well. So it's clearly a good kind of ecosystem that's going on here. And yeah, like you said, I think that kind of system where teams are kind of coming together for the first few weeks, we expected to see some sort of, you know, hodgepodge strategies, maybe a little bit of miscommunication here or there, and a lot of really exciting games due to the kind of chaotic nature that comes about of it. I kind of expect a bit more, shall we say, assuredness and organisation from this point forward. We're, you know, approaching the midpoint of the season. We know, like, these teams have had a good few weeks, at least maybe months, to kind of scrim together and start practicing and getting that practice up. There'll be different levels of commitment across the board, but, you know, that's just the nature of the beast. And yeah, like you said, I think these middling teams, like we saw Ophis do, for instance, last season, where they started the season kind of near the bottom of the pack, and then by the end of it, they were winning best of 5s against Chexeland, who basically won the whole thing. Because of the point system. Bit strange, but yeah. I much prefer this system as well, just a side note. But, like, you've got the league table that basically defines who's going to be best at the very end, and then playoffs is really, really clear and really simple. But, yeah, I think that you are going to have teams like Froggers, like Imperium and Mandem, sort of push their way up the leaderboard towards the end of the season. And Team Triton, I don't think they can rest on their laurels, especially after yesterday's result.
Certainly. So when you have an opportunity to pounce, be able to find yourself in that top spot, you've got to take it. You see a moment, you've got to dive bomb in and really try and find your standing. And if you can get to the top spot now, Princess might be able to hold on to it for that little bit longer. We have our map bombs ready to show to you, so our veto stage will be bringing out. We have the spoilers, of course, Jerry, but this is going to be a very exciting one.
Ooh, so I haven't been spoiled. I've decided to not look and see what's going on. So obviously these are the auto bans most recently played from each pair. So we're not going to get Oregon, thank you. Whippet, you're going to be very thankful for that, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Clubhouse out of action as well. Chalet and Cafe, the first bans there. Imperium and Mandem. Having seen the Princesses on Chalet, probably sensible to ban that out. But also, new pool, new map in the pool. very understandable that they might not have strats on it yet. Cafe, an interesting ban from the Princesses, because that removes all the sort of trifecta of most commonly played maps, and now we're actually left with quite an interesting trio. And Consulate and Villa are the remaining bans, so we're going to be going to Coastline, Whippet.
Well, this is going to be an exciting one, considering that we see so much killing potential on the side of Princesses and Imperium of Mandem. Bringing them to the party house in the Golden Shores of Ibiza is only going to lead to a absolute bar brawl, and I cannot wait to dive into this one. Again, this is a map which is so fluid, so flexible, and it's so different to everything else in the current climate we have, because it's, well, kind of weighted towards that attacking side. Yes, Clubhouse is beginning to slip that way, but historically and currently, Coastline's been very good for the attacking side, which is rare in a game like Siege because of the open style of it, the flexibility, the fluidity, and your availability to play aggressive and kind of skip some steps, so skip some fundamentals like the requirement of hard breach. You don't really need it on a map like this, and that frees up people who would be typically kind of pushed back to that hard support role that on that hard breach to kind of have a little bit more flexibility, more legroom to work with. That can lead to some very interesting results. So I'm excited for this one. I think this is a perfect stylistic matchup for these teams to go here on the Coastline.
Yeah, it makes our jobs impossible because I really cannot predict now how this is going to turn out. The Princesses would have been my favourites going into this, but I feel like Coastline just throws a lot of the rulebook out the window. And to be fair, we have seen that they're capable of fragging out. So that is the sort of, stereotypical view of Coastline. It's a frag as a map. But Imperium Mandem, like we saw last week, can bring the smack when they want. So yeah, it's going to be impossible to call. I think we just have to dive in and see how it goes.
Certainly so. I kind of always mention it. When we sit here on our virtual caster desk, we can theory craft and discuss and think about everything we have. You could even dive into the strategies and stats that these teams have presented on these maps before, but it never really compares to watching them lock horns live in the server. When gunfights begin and pressure mounts, certain players might stand up more, and it just comes into who's warmed up better, who's prepared better for this exact matchup. And I cannot wait to dive into this one because, as we mentioned, and I think we're going to be mentioning almost to deafening degrees, players like Max, who are absolutely fantastic when it comes to their gunplay, their mechanics, and their just confidence right now. Because I believe stat line for stat line, Max is currently the best performer in the entire league, and so his confidence, well, he's exuding it in every gunfight he takes. I'd imagine he's going to be expecting and imagining himself to be able to get that headshot kill and move on to the next.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, this is exactly the kind of map that he wants to run riot on. But I mean, the names that we've seen on the side of Imperium of Mandem as well, like, we know that they're also capable of it. So players like Angelix and Scipio last season were really putting up the numbers, and I can't wait to see how they sort of butt heads against each other here. I feel like I haven't cast Coastline in ages. This is probably my first Coastline in about 3 months or something. It's definitely fallen off in favour in the sort of tier 4, tier 3 scene. But I haven't kept us as close a track on tier 1 lately. Whippet, I know you're a bit more up to date with that sort of thing. How is Coastline being played at the very high level, and are there any things that we can expect to sort of trickle down here?
I mean, the big exception of it being played instead of T1, I think, is going to be Mirage's debut in the NAL versus Dark Zero, where they honestly put Dark Zero in a very tricky position, forced him to the raggedy edge of regulation. And I think in terms of core identity, the map hasn't evolved that much. It's very much still relying on having that successful and aggressive push to get your initial entry and that map control and building from the key positions like Office and VIP. And I think it's going to be one of those maps that even though, you could see a drastic change of strategy on this, a new... I missed what was there.
I saw it for like a split second. It was one of the finest pieces of smack talk I've ever seen. It was... what the...
Excuse me?
Okay.
G8
G8 bands, maybe? We're going to see an Amaru here. That's it.
Oh, they're both going to get rid of that. I mean, I've seen stranger things coming out in the ban phase, but an IQ does raise an eyebrow. It's not an operator that you see getting brought out a whole lot, slipped away in the current competitive climate, just because, well, you're forced out to bring so many tools to clear all the various amounts of utilities, so sometimes that scanner is just kind of pushed to the background these days. Habana getting taken out, and, well, I mentioned that hard breach isn't necessarily the most important thing to have on a map like Coastline, but the X-Kairos pellets can be used to create lines of sight that can make it very difficult to have comfort and flexibility on the objective itself. So that makes a lot of sense. Valkyrie going away, well, on more aggressive maps, it's a very common ban to see. Those cameras give so much extra information, can shore up the defense, give them exact information where the attackers are pushing, and lead into that more aggressive playstyle. Our final ban, it's going to be an interesting one to see. I imagine either a mirror or a catcher. That's going to be my bet. A Wamai or a mirror here. I could be completely wrong, but we'll see. No, I'm a Lucy. So the Banshee slows the round down to a halt, and I have a feeling none of the players in this server want anything to do with getting slowed down.
Yeah, she's a real pain in the backside, quite honestly, and one of the most kind of iconic locations for Banshees, in my eyes, is on that pool table when you're going through who could take. Knowing that it's there, at any point during the round, you have to account for it, right? You have to make sure that you leave an Ashe up, you leave a Zofia up, you leave some frags in pocket to be able to deal with that, and of course the inevitable catcher utility that's going to be protecting it, or any evil eyes that might be around as well, because they're almost as important when it comes to trying to go for that default push from Aqua. And yeah, removing her from the equation, totally understandable. Interesting, actually. I think that the IQ ban makes slightly more sense to me now, having seen the Valk and being reminded of her existence, because yeah, she's a great counter to the Valk that's been banned out. Something very funny is going on in chat right now, and it's gonna explain a little bit why we're here. We're going to Penthouse, and I think they misclicked.
I mean, the setup does look like a setup you would bring for Penthouse. I'm not gonna lie, I don't quite believe that perhaps the verbal getting cascaded through all the chat, because well, they look to be very sharpish in getting this setup
they know
done.
the setup.
Yeah, this is a little bit of psychological warfare coming up. Like, oh, guys, we accidentally picked Penthouse. Yeah, one of the weakest sites on online play. Oh, no. Oh, anyway, we're bringing a perfect setup. We've got the mirror angles, the Rooney gates in the hallway. Have fun breaking down this.
Yeah, this is basically the only way to do it, is to make sure that you're holding firm in 90 by some means or another. I've seen a lot of strategies to hold Penthouse involving Clash, and she's very effective when she's got a long hallway to hold down and just give calls to a little buddy who can tap in and out and get headshots for days, using it as an effective mobile mirror window. But with the mirror in play as well, you definitely have the opportunity to hold from Penthouse itself. Now, one of the most important things as an attacking side to try and unseat this particular hold is to use the vertical play from beneath, and that is why we see So What on the Jaeger holding from white stairs and trying to pressure into lobby, making sure that it's not quite so easy for anyone to get underneath and to do any destruction from beneath, to remove those mirror windows, to get rid of various pieces of gadgetry. The only thing is, though, Imperial Mano don't have a buck. They don't have any form, really, besides the breaching rounds of Ashe and Zofia to get that vertical destruction and do it efficiently. So they need to make sure that they save those for that particular use. And these Aruni gates and Wamai discs and ADSs all around are going to soak up a lot of utility when it comes to the actual site push. So they really need to be decisive and careful about how they place their utility in this attacking round.
Yeah, it's been a tentative start so far, and I think this is a lot to do with the map choice, or the site choice in general. Bringing out a map that's typically not played on online play. This is a very rare map to see. Just because it's a very tricky map as the defense to control what utility the defender or the attacking side are being able to dispense. You know, this window gives you so much of line of sight. They have a nice angle in the VIP, however. They can use to fight this with a long position, and look at the amount of bodies queuing up on this eastern side. It looks like they're thinking about pushing there. The cogs are turning, but no entries happened yet. No damage done, no map control taken. Imperium of Mandem need to make something happen, and happen relatively quickly, because this timer is only going to train on down. The time never stops, never waits for anybody, and the defense are very much happy waiting, looking at those numbers get lower. Zordy finds the opening kill. The Romani pops ahead of Benji, and well, that's not a great start. Losing your sledge, losing those grenades, and an active gun as well. With less than a minute remains, 50 seconds. Can Imperium of Mandem find that spark, push on in, and claim some map control, get some kills, and maybe even find an execution in the late seconds of this round?
the one thing that was worrying me in that sort of mid-round was that I didn't see a single attacker hop onto drone at any point, and I feel like they're going to be starved of intel when it comes to this push with regards to the positioning of these defenders, and in particular the utility as well. We see finally one breaching round go out, but finally Zodi gets another kill. We've got Rose going down, smokes get dropped, and a default plant is going to be attempted. Scipio does get the refrag. The C4 will miss, but Mr. V will find Scipio. Again, the Mozzie doing work, but the diffuser is planted successfully. Now, Angelix on the rappel is the last one alive as DJ7 vaults out and gets downed in the exit. He sees the rotate through bathroom, but he has to play it so passively to keep himself alive. Finds the head of Mr. Joe. He's going to be expecting the run out here. Doesn't have time to come down and res his teammate. Ideal. That's Max finding himself outside and gets caught out. The pistol whipped out to deal with Max, but he can't land the shots. Oh my goodness. Ideal with the team kill onto the down Mr. V. So what does find Angelix? And now 19 seconds left. Ideal has to scramble back to site. I think he has enough time to make it. 14, 13, has to vault. He will make it successfully. There we go. Ideal just about scrambling back into position to get the counter defuse. DJ7 can only sit outside and wait. The Princesses just about hold on to that round.
Whoa, that was a sketchy post plant, but luckily they were able to down the ace, so they had plenty of time to get that 7.5 second defuser off. They were able to make sure that was, I mean, all of this defuse actually being 0.5 seconds longer. Cannot believe it. Oh,
it's the animation. It's the animation.
Oh man. But they had that extra half a second and spare,
Yeah.
plenty of seconds to do so. So Princesses find themselves a very successful opening round. It was scrappy, it got messy, but well, that's exactly what you would expect on a map like Coastline. It's not gonna be the most raw and defined stuff, and well, this is just gonna be such a nightmare's position. Great shots here though, to find them under pressure as everything begins to mount, as the vault there happens. I mean, this is just so many positions to shoot at. The pistol comes out. This is just fighting from desperation there, and well, ultimately shut down. The plant got counter defused. So we go into our second round now, and what side are we? I missed it. No.
We are kitchen.
Kitchen. Yes,
Yeah.
there we are.
So they're really mixing up with the site selection here as against the usual grain of things. I think the Princesses are very comfortable on this map from what we've seen. Coming out with the offsite straight off the bat to really set the tempo and managing to clutch it out, that's going to be good for them in mentalities, from a mentality standpoint. Oh my god, my words today. I did not have my Bepis before I started, alright? The Bepis has to be had.
It's a precast ritual. You've got to get your Bepis, or, in my case, nondescript energy drink. I wonder what energy drink it could possibly be. But we'll say nondescript for now. We're getting brought out again by Mr. Joe. This is, as you said, interesting.
Yeah,
we don't see mirror. I mean, it's a caster's favorite word. It's great.
It's the best word for something like this. As a musician, when you hear interesting, it's usually not a good thing, right? It's it's like that was interesting. Yeah, this is in that same way interesting. There's a lot of flaws with that potential mirror placement. You can unlock it very easily from above. It can be disabled so simply just by a bit of pressure through Penthouse. We're seeing absolutely no presence in Penthouse from Princesses, so that could be forgone very, very quickly, and the mirror setup could be useless. But it looks as though Imperium of Mandem are playing straight into the Princesses' hands here by trying this lateral take against a very laterally spread defense.
I mean, when you see the strategy getting brought out by Princesses and you're playing directly into it, not really pushing for that verticality, you've got to wonder if the information game was there. Ideal is just outside in the lobby trying to find some shots deep in towards blue bar. Nothing quite lining up just yet, but well, I speak to you soon as the shot lines up there. Mr. V finds the head. A great one there. That's going to be opening kill once again. With that P10 rolling the Ash off the board. There's no immediate reply, but DJ gets it. That's going to be Rose getting one as well. A little bit of a collapse there as Princesses find themselves losing two in rapid succession. A minute 25 remains as Benji looks to vault on in and takes an aggressive stance inside of Sunrise. The front lines are forming now as Princesses have fallen back deeper in towards this objective. All they must do is hold their crossfires and play a perfect refry game if they need to do so, but still. The advantage sits with the team with the higher number. More guns active, but Ideal on that roam, on that flank presence upstairs, on the garden balcony, and he's going to lay prone and wait as he can just sit in this position, rotate late if required, but I don't think he's known. No one's going to have a drone up there this stage of a round, and he can just sit unbothered, unpestered, and if anyone walks into him, he's going to get that kill.
Angelic just walked across his line of sight, and he didn't spot him. Ideal just napping a little bit there, but he's now dropped from the balcony. He's got the pistol out, and he is spotted by Angelic. Down goes the Legion. 4 versus 2 now. Only anchors remain. Mr. V holding firm. Mr. Joe, the two misters trying to hold on here, and well, Mr. V gets this off to the races with his second kill of the round. Mr. Joe is going to be on his own now as Rose and Mr. V take down a player apiece. Now Rose is pushing into sight. Angelic's getting his position into the kitchen and sticking down an air jab to lock out the mirror. Diffuser has to be picked up by Rose here. Can easily plant here though. C4 is in hand of Mr. Joe, and he will send it out, but I don't think it's hit the mark. Unfortunately, it's just a bit shy. Rose will have to reattempt, though, as he fell off the first time, so that cover has to be there. Angelix will hold it. No, the flash comes out. Full blinds Mr. Joe. Rose does get up. What a ridiculous end to that round. And IOM, Imperium of Mandem, snatched that one out.
That was an interesting conclusion, to say the very least. Cut off and isolated from that air jab, and well, the C4 was, as you said, just too shy of hitting its mark. And well, that flashbang air jab detonated at the very same time, and he just kind of charged into the fray, and not knowing what he was facing, and ultimately he wasn't able to get anything for his efforts as Imperium of Mandem get that plant down and shut out that round. A great response from them, considering they didn't have the best of starts in the opening round, but Princess is showing that they are very much still an active threat in these gunfights, and they have great positioning to go alongside of it. And we just saw a little bit of highlight there, that mirror just charging into the fray in the final seconds of that round, just not quite knowing where they were as their retinas were rightly burnt from their skull.
Yeah, it was a very chaotic end to that round. And, oh, that's nice. You see how neatly lined up all the defenders were there upon spawning. It was very cute. They're going back to this site here, but they're swapping out the mirror for Maestro. Slightly more standard hold, shall we say. Even when mirror is available, sometimes you don't see her used, and you see the Maestro brought in place. My favourite, just bring both. Honestly, it gives you so much site control. It forces the attackers to have to clear out utility walking in, and just there's way too much in their way, and they have to try and clear from above. But instead, they're going with, yeah, just a slight adaptation. This vertical hole being made by Mr. Joe is going to allow them to play from above. So you've got to imagine that this time around, Princesses, the way they're setting up, they are actually going to hold Penthouse and VIP and work with those angles. We did see Ideal playing from Luggage Balcony and trying to work the long angle into Kitchen, but it didn't really net anything that time around. So instead, this time, full roam here on the top floor. Mr. V will find Angelix with that stock spawn peak, probably one of the nastiest spawn peaks in the game. So difficult to avoid it, so you might as well just not walk in that direction, if you ask me.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
no.
such an... Oh, no! Ideal! Well, that's not ideal to lose your Maestro so early. He got aggressive, throws the impact out at the wooden barrier, tries to make that all to sing, but no. Slap down to the Shadow Realm, unfortunately. Does lots of damage on the Benju, however, so that sledge isn't going to be too comfortable in any future engagements, but I don't think it was a worthwhile trade because you lose such a powerhouse of utility on the hands of those Maestros. So the Evil Eyes are now still placed them up, but locked in current position. You better hope Max put them in a good line of sight, otherwise they're going to be made null and void. The entryway inside of Hall of Fame and VIP begins now. Can the Ash find some success here? Looks like there's no exact roam presence just right now, so they're going to have a little bit of free reign to be able to open up these vertical positions, and that's going to be very useful to displace the power positions deep inside of Kitchen, and that's going to be very important for that execution. But as I speak to you soon, Mr. Joe waddles his way up those cool vibe stairs. T5 SMG ready, and well, Rose, not knowing the imminent threat, perhaps the Sophia is in, sprays some shots wildly down towards Hookah, just suppressing any movement of Mr. Joe. But all he's going to do is make himself a rotate and buy time. He's got so much potential here just to burn away that timer and make it a very tricky position for Imperium of Mandem. Looks like lots of guns go converging on his position. I don't think they actually know he's there. The impact rotation would have made some sound, perhaps clued them into that, but no one's made a push for him, and well, he's gone back down the sunrise now.
Yeah, and we've seen that slow pinch, just a little bit too slow from Imperium of Mandem to try and close out those roamers, and now instead they have a minute remaining and time to try and get these vertical holes through. And Benji, on very low HP, that's not ideal when it comes to this particular site push. As your sledge, you are likely to take the odd bullet or two, and now he has to be very cautious where he treads. DJ holding from outside kitchen, just trying to catch any defenders unaware that might want to try and rotate back to site come the execute. Has fall off of that position, however, and I'm beginning to worry for Imperium of Mandem here. They're not set up for any particular site push, but that pick might be enough. Finding so what, and removing one anchor from the equation. Smoke comes out. DJ7 is creeping on in, but it hasn't really propagated properly, and Zodi just walks on and takes him out. That's going to hurt for IOM. Now, with only 15 seconds left, Diffuser has been dropped in kitchen window, and they have to full send. Zodi takes out Scipio, 2 versus 3 for the attackers. Zodi with another, whipping out the pistol, triple kill on the round. He gets the quad! Princesses lock it out. Zodi just shutting down everyone that wants to waltz into kitchen.
Well, take a bow after that one. All he needed was that 9mm Beretta to fight his way through the scraps in kitchen. And very well done indeed. Finding the quad kill, finding the round for Princesses, but scrappy, messy rounds. This is what you love to see on maps like Coastline. Nothing's going to be clean cut. Nothing's going to be an easy fight. And we're seeing both these teams kind of push each other here. This spawn peak, though. Oh, you've got to check it. You've got to be aware, at least looking up, or at least pre-firing it, but this hurts. That hurts a little bit to watch Max D or Ideal kind of go for that aggressive run out. Just couldn't find anything. A great setup, though, from Imperium of Mandem. Just unfortunate that this smoke grenade, well, done that.
Yeah.
I believe a Wamai pulled it away, actually. Yeah, it would have been. Wamai on the roof pulled it in, detonated it up there, and that's why that cover completely went away. So, again, seeing the use of bringing back extra capture in the hands of Wamai. Oh. That's...
Oh, that's what it is, I guess. So what's going to be left on about 40 HP for the remainder of the round after taking... I think that was some bailiff work from Mr. Joe. It must have been. So, naughty Joe, slap on the wrist for you. But it is important work to be done nonetheless. That angle being opened up in the bottom of blue bar allows you so much control to the entire site, and you essentially make blue bar a kill box. You don't really want to hold here as a defender. There's very little cover now to defend with, but you play in lobby, you play in courtyard, and you get a long line of sight that's very defender favoured because of how close it is to the legs of the attackers. They can't really walk into a room and go prone and fight back at the same time. So you get a lovely line of sight to all of the plant spots, all of the entryways, and the real anchoring here is going to be done in Sunrise Bar, in Pink Bar. Ideal making up a couple of little bullet holes so that they can hold down that long hallway, and kitchen and bathroom also being held onto. Once again, we get a very lateral hold from the Princesses, but instead of kitchen outwards to the west, it's now bars outward to the east.
I have a feeling this might be a bit of a slower push. I think right now Imperium of Mandem want to be able to get some control, but I always say something, and then I just re-look at the setup. It looks like it's a very direct push, actually. It does seem to just trying to clear Sauna here, get this control, force the shield out of positioning, and well, that air jab might do a great job there. An alibi, thanking their lucky stars there. They were on low HP from a misfortunate damage in the prep phase. Air jabbed out of cover and just able to scamper away back to safety deeper in the back lines of the setup. Counting their fortunes for that one. Verticality getting brought out here by Script. Oh, those breaching charges doing a great job. Opens the hatch as well as giving some extended verticality. Sees the tracers though just by cool vibes and decides to chase. The proximity alarm is going to give away that information. Now dealing with that Prisma as well. Going to force that push to slow down, but Ideal has the AUG in hand, throws up a brand new Amai disc, and can just sit on this position, lying in wait for anyone to stumble in towards him. Here's that Gemini replicator being summoned. That information is going to get relayed as Max is just going to go down and tuck himself into a nice little spot behind the deep at the lower side of Cool Vibe stairs. I speak too soon. Now inside a bar, looking to try and take the fight, perhaps. Mr. B gets the opening kill. Scripto falls. That's your Ash off the board.
Yeah, an important position denied there. Angelics will find Zodi in response. 2 downs coming through. DJ7 and Rose being felled in that walk-in. Diffuser is cold. Mr. Joe will finish off one of those with the Evil Eye. Rose managing to scamper to safety. But in the meantime, Benji is downed and finished off by Mr. V. It's fallen apart for the attack. Unfortunately for them, they had the control they needed, but they were just losing too many fights. And now they're in a 2 versus 3. Still recoverable. There are plenty of players on the defense that are quite far removed from the action. But Mr. V in a fantastic spot here on the hatch. He is read into, though. Oh, just scampers away with his life. Taken down to about 20 HP. Rose about the same, and he's going to trying to find an opening here. Nomad hopping in and out. They can't settle on an attack strategy here.
They need to settle on something very quickly. It's going to be a very tricky and brutal execution. It looks like Angelica's going to try and get this plant down. Forces deep, but the cover is gone. So what? Finds that kill. And this Evil Eye's just going to be a nuisance, zapping away, forcing a commitment down to that plant. The timer hits red, but there's 3 guns still in this fight. Surely not! Finds 2, but no! Mr. Joe with the impact, collecting that final kill and holding it together for his team. Oh, very lucky had a second one there.
That was the stupidest round. The end was insane. Exploding into action in the final moments. The 1 versus 3, he almost did it. He very nearly did it. Coming off that defuse at the last moment to try and get the kills. A little bit hasty, shall we say, but that Arunigate almost won it for him. If he only had 1 impact left, perhaps if some of that utility had been spent in the prep or in the mid-round, then the Alder would have had to come into play. And, I mean, Angelix was clearly aware of the threat, and he managed to take down 2, almost reacting, in fact. You can see him just flick his sort of peripheral vision towards that double door, and as we saw there, the Maestro caught a staffs player at the very end.
A very coveted catch indeed,
Yeah.
to be able to find one of those. I mean, I think you kind of said it perfectly. A bit of a stupid conclusion to a round there. Everything looked like it was going to be done and dusted. A 1v3. The Nomad had around 7 seconds to work with, and all of a sudden, a flurry in the kill feed, and well, it came down to requiring that impact from the back of the court to be able to find that kill. I'm pretty sure with the timer being so low, the Nomad would be forced into a plant, and we would have saw the same conclusion, but nonetheless, an exciting way to go as we go back upstairs to Penthouse. And originally, the princesses said they brought this by mistake. Oh no, we're up in Penthouse. They tried to use their psychological warfare, but now they don't need that because they know how strong this setup is. And we saw that even when there was a scrappy post plant, they were able to put the pieces together and find that victory. So can Imperial Man then perhaps get that opening kill that they have been lacking so far and use that to build up and get some momentum. Ideal in a nasty position. It's prepped and ready. Because the Surya Gate's now disguised by that wooden barrier, it's not going to read into his position. I wonder what he's thinking. I wonder if it's going to be a vault or he's waiting for a repel. The cogs are certainly turning as players repel up to get control of that DJ balcony.
I think he's relying on himself not being droned out. It's a very odd spot. You wouldn't expect to have to drone it out as an attacker, but it's also easily just caught up on if you send a drone. Just, you know, in the sort of normal direction from Hall of Fame through... Oh, then it's likely to see him, but Scipio is likely to be seen at this long angle from Zodi, and once again, the P10 Roni is being put to good use on this Penthouse hold. Last time, I think it was something like 4 of the 5 kills were dealt by either the Aruni or the Mozzie, and right now Zodi is off to a flying start. Holding VIP once again, they know that he wants to play in this position, and they have to do something about it.
Yet again, we're seeing Imperial Man them suffer that opening death. They're able to get that trade-off now, but the stat line I love to repeat is the defense finding that opening kill can give themselves an up to 60% advantage of winning a round, and we see Princesses continue to press that advantage, finding themselves sitting in that 4 versus 3. As this timer drains away, it's going to put pressure and mount more and more pressure on Imperial Man, and their push is very much committed. Narrowly. It's just outside the DG and the window repels, and Ideal just doesn't care about your repel. He's going to be able to smack back Angelix, and that's a nasty blow already, losing a player, and Ideal finds a second one. The C4 in the bathroom on the DJ, and now a solitary survivor, Benji, on that Yana. Out by DJ, a minute left to work with. We've seen some close moments near heroics in the previous round, but against 4. This is going to be a very tough asking, considering that ARX has barely enough rounds to get through 2 opposition with a single magazine. You're going to have to pick his shots very carefully, and walking into a nasty crossfire. I don't believe the Yonda is going to be too long for this world.
Probably not. It would take some doing from her to make this work. V getting a little bit aggressive there, and no one up to pick the refrag, which is interesting from Princesses, because they really need to be doing that to shut this round out. Benji is going to walk into the den of the beast here. Ideal is waiting jiggle peeking this door, but Benji will punish him. He's having none of it. So what now? Spending his second gas canister, and with 15 seconds left on the clock, that's going to make Benji's job incredibly difficult. He's got to walk into a full defensive setup here. 2 players it may be, but with mirror windows, it barely matters. So what will take his head off, and the Princesses once again secure themselves a penthouse defense.
It's so rare that you see this site getting played, and when it does, it's often odd to see it getting won. But guess what? It's been won twice by the Princesses, showing their availability to play all the maps on this map and be dominant in doing so. And this is, well, a dominant scoreline. 4-1 moving into round number 6, the last of their defensive split. We've got some lovely replays rolling out for you there. This is a great shot, though, from downtown with the Roni. 1 bullet was needed to find that, and ideal. Disrespecting this window. That position's there to cut off and make those rotations impossible. Max doesn't care. He's just going to walk around and take your head off your shoulders. And finding this kill there, that's going to be Benji getting 3, but ultimately not enough to win out that round.
It takes a confident team to play Penthouse twice, but it takes a confident team to play Penthouse in general. And you could see the confidence going through Princess's veins there. They were very happy to take pretty much... Okay. What? Maybe it was a skin issue. I think he was probably trying to kill himself. That's unfortunate for Ideal. And, yeah, he's gone now. So... I think maybe he was also supposed to not put down an Eva line? I'm not sure how that works. Can you put down your utility if you have a... Either way, I'm sure that will be sort of resolved while we sort of chat about things. But, yeah, Penthouse, you've got to be really aggressive to make that work. And they certainly were. They were very happy to take fights through those windows onto that balcony. And it really paid off for them. There was virtually no foot set inside the building from Imperium of Mandem that round. And you could tell that was... the strategy working at its optimum level, perhaps. A little bit tentative at the end, shall we say, getting a bit overly aggressive in the 1 versus 4, but they had faith in their defensive hold. Once the attacker made his way into bedroom, he was pretty much done and dusted. And we're seeing again, just confidence from Princesses as they go to the 4th site that we've seen from them this entire map.
I love it when a team has the confidence to play every single site on a map. It's rare to see, and well, Angelix gets aggressive there, finding an early kill on the Mr. Joe, and they've been lacking in the opening kill department so far, have Imperium Mandem, and finding that now perhaps gives themselves an advantage. Yes, there was a team kill. Oh, unfortunate, yes, but now it's 5 versus 3, and well... sometimes it's when luck meets opportunity, you can find some success. Can they be able to capitalize upon that now and get another round on the board? That's going to be Mr. V finding a kill. Zordy's going to get traded off by Rose. The advantage continues to stay the same. Imperium Mandem in a 4 versus 2 now. Can they isolate the objectives now and force themselves on a plant? Angelix in a great position, creeping up the stairs by Cool Vibes, and finds the kill on the So What, making it a 1 versus 4. It's all down to Mr. V now. The plant's going to go down, surely. Yes, it is. DJ sticks it out, and it's going to be an absolute brawl, finding 1 kill. No, shut down by the AK and removed from the server as IOM claim their 2nd round on round number 6. Better late than never to find some momentum, perhaps, as this could be something to build upon. One caveat is the team kill. Starting with that initial advantage can let you play more aggressive, can give you that extra bit of freedom, knowing that even if you lose someone early, it's back to level playing field.
So, yeah, hardly the most classic of rounds. I don't think that will go down in BUAL annals, but IOM, for them, it was a very important one. If they manage to force their way back into this game, they'll look at that as the turning point. And like you said, it's a little bit of that was handed to them on a plate. They basically had the advantage, and then we got to see what they can do when they actually have it, because they have been lacking in that opening kills department. And well, now we have seen that when they do have that advantage, they can storm to victory quite comfortably. There was barely a foot place wrong in that round by the attacking side. And it's just a shame that it may have come at too late a point in their half. Switching to defense now, though. And I feel as though, yeah, this map can basically just go to the team that aggresses the most. And quite often, that actually leans in favor of the defense, from what I've seen. The ability to kind of set the pace of a round and contest whatever you want. As long as you're fighting for every inch of ground on this map, then the defense can actually do quite well. We see, for instance, a lot of runouts. We haven't seen any, really, besides on that very first round where they were trying to contest the big window in Penthouse. We've seen barely any runouts or barely any spawn peaks from the side of Princesses on their defense. Perhaps this will be a part of IOM's defense, because it's often a part of a lot of teams' defenses on Coastline. From what I can see right now, though, there's no holes prepped, there's no runouts prepped. They are scanning around on those outdoor cams to begin with, but that's usually just to read into the direction of the push, and I don't think we're going to see a sort of trademark Coastline level of aggression from either defense this game.
Yeah, I think right now for Imperial Man, then, because of that early deficit in rounds that they find themselves suffering from, they're going to play a little bit more reserved, a little bit more pulled back. And this is a great drone position here, as ID just has perfect information on this Legion's location. And, well, I think that drone just got taken out of the fight there, but he has so much, and no, the yellow pings are still there. So this Zofia can continue to tap away and send lead down range, but it's a nasty position to fight against. You never really want to commit there, especially when there's no trade-off buddy with you. You cannot force yourself in there solo and be expected to come out with a good result. 1 minute 55 remains, and we're yet to see any initial push from the Princesses. The map control is not being taken, but it looks like they're going to be able to make some progression now via VIP. The settlement charge is opening up this wall. This is going to be a great long position to hold, which can split the site, especially by smoke couches. But Scorpio down below on that bandit has a C4 to play around with as well, so keep an eye on that one. But a vault in now as Mr. V looks to try and find that opening engagement, but can't quite find the damage yet. Ideal burning away that Saria gate, finding his way an entryway, but he's going to be met by a second one. And Aruni's so good at draining away utility like this. And that's going to be Rose getting that opening kill. Mr. V out of the fight. That's your race gone, but the angles have already been opened up. That work is done. But can they benefit from that? As Rose finds a second in this round, looks for 3, but no! It's going to get shut down with the LED5 inside of luggage. Ideal deep inside of sight. However, it's not going to be able to find a kill there. Narrowly missing the shots on the cool vibes. A tricky brawl to ensue. Pistol at ready. What a nasty fight through the wall. Can he win it out? Yes, he can. A 3 versus 3, but with so many angles there. Max continuing to brawl with his pistol in hand. Call it a sidearm, call it a primary, but he needs to make it work for him.
Oh, Benji is gone, and now we've got 2 versus 3 on our hands. Angelic's holding from Cool Vibes, and he's the last alive as Zodi removes Scipio, trying to rotate back to site. Ideal will finally go down, though, and he's in a DBNO state, but without that withstand anymore, he's going to stay there for the time being. Zodi sticking the plant down, and Mr. Joe will get aggressive. No, sorry, Angelic's getting aggressive. Mr. Joe holding the angle against the defender there. Nicely done, nicely played. Good prone position to hold that angle and be unexpected. Very nice work from the attack. Princesses, they're picking themselves up 5-2 now.
This is a very strong performance from them. It was, yet again, I think the perfect word that we've been using for this entire cast is interesting, to say the least, on that attack. You know, Ideal Max D, it's gonna trip me up, because I know he's back to Max D on Twitter, but his in-game hasn't updated yet, so it's still tripping me up. I'll read your in-server name, Max, but Ideal is, you know, just in sight, just randomly in sight, misses what I'm gonna call a freebie down towards Cool Vibes. Not something you'd imagine from a player who just, you know, at the opening Playday broke the kill record here, Badass University All-Stars. But such a scrappy fight. Absolutely a mess. But Princesses, well, they revel in those moments of chaos. They're calm and collected. They can just control themselves, and they're comfortable there. And considering the fact that they're 5-2 up, you're seeing just that level of confidence that they're bringing out. And Imperial Man, them, this reserve strategy that they were trying to bring out, not giving anything to shoot at for Princesses, can still work. They just need to, you know, make it work a little bit quicker, because you let another round slip and you give Princesses that match point advantage.
This is interesting what we're seeing here from Rose. Just denying any sort of drone work to be had on the top floor around that penthouse VIP area as the Mosley. Very good, and this is in stark contrast to the way that we saw the Princesses holding in their kitchen defense, which was very lateral, very flat across the whole width of the map. Instead, we've got Rose just holding onto penthouse. He's opened up a little bit of a peek hole for himself to run on out and try and take down anyone that would come from ruins, but no one's spawning over there. We see a heavy spawn from the Princesses on the side of the delivery door, and it looks like they are positioned well ready for a rush. They've got that Capital, they've got the smokes from Mr. V as well on the ace, and this is hopefully for them gonna not be a massacre, but they're taking a bit too long, and this is beginning to worry me.
I think it's completely faltered out now. There's no real momentum to this, and they have such utility like those Evil Eyes, and all this grenade tossed out is going to take that out of play, but they rotated and decided to try and vault in via the kitchen window, which is just as daring and brave. It looks like they're going to commit to something aggressive nonetheless. Lots of drones getting utilized but taken out of the fight. And I think the vault is coming in. Yes, it is. There's the Ash in. The smoke's going to go away. Mr. Joe gets aggressive, finding one, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. That's going to be AK-12 singing as Mr. V gets a kill. The incendiary bolts are out as well. This plant's going down in the hailstorm of smoke, but no, the Alder gets that denied. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath in the kitchen. It's down to So What now in a 1 versus 2. Tries to get that plant down, perhaps just a bait for audio, but no! Rose is privy to it and finds the kill. And that's going to be the Roni locking it out for Imperium of Mandem. But what a interesting round yet again. The decision to, go from one rush to another, it nearly worked out. I imagine if we saw a post-plant situation, the Princesses could have forced their way on the match point, but still, they just couldn't get that plant down. The cover was there. It got read into pretty early in this matchup, so not a surprise at the result we witnessed.
Yeah, slightly botched rush, and we're going to see the thick of it once here again, which is quite nice. I love the replays that we're getting here at BUAR because it allows us to kind of dissect this a little bit more, make a little bit more sense of it. We can see the Alder show up in the kill feed there. So what, just panicking, running into his own flames at one point. And this position here, so key, effectively creating a crossfire between the courtyard and the delivery site. So that kitchen window was a death trap from the start.
Oh, man. This is... I was excited to jump into Coastline. I really was. And it's certainly not failing to deliver, but it's not exactly what I was imagining coming into this. I expected to be lots of internal fights in these buffer rooms, roamers v entries, and a bloodbath earlier in the round. But it looks like they're playing it a little bit more reserved on both sides. Well, let's kind of ignore that rush that we witnessed from Princesses. They're not completely committing to fights. The defensive side of Imperium, and I think are making a wise choice of playing that more reserved style, kind of reminiscent of the very, very old style that SSG brought out. I believe at SI 2019, they played a very reserved style against G2, which nearly faltered the champions of that event. And there's your reference. I use that one quite a lot. It's a great example for when teams play. I need to update that. Who's the reserve team now? The really passive, kind of doesn't give you anything to shoot at team in the current play.
I have to say, I haven't been able to keep up with the Tier 1 competitions as much as I used to, so your guess is far better than mine, most likely.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think certainly the way that NA plays out is a bit more kind of coordinated in general, so maybe an NA side, but that's about as far as I can give any insight on that matter. But your point still stands. This is a very reserved coastline that we're seeing, and hunkering down, a very few run-outs attempted, as mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's so weird to see attacks stall out on coastline. That just doesn't happen, right? And it's kind of happening here.
This is an intriguing showing of coastline right now. There's lots of stalling out. I think that's a pretty good description as well. It looks like teams have a fair idea what to do. An aggressive push there. Was that a C4 or a Capcan trap? Oh, that is well. Listen, yesterday I was joking around with McCready, saying, "Oh, what's the point of bringing out a Capcan?" And moments after I said it, an EED kill just occurred. Ideal's going to be the first to fall, though, as that's going to be a kill, but traded off rapidly by So What. The smoke grenades are already tossed out. I wonder if that was expecting to be something to burn them away, like OMI or an ADS, but that smoke went out. There was no direct push afterwards, and now you got control of Aqua. What now? You've got to be able to make this final step, this final push in. No one's there to clear 90. No one's there to clear Vase right now, so they're relying on brute forcing their way through as the front line's forming up, and well, we see 3 members of Princesses all queued up outside of Aqua and luggage. It's not going to be a pretty fight when they try to make that execution.
4 versus 4 with 55 seconds left. And this is the quietest round in ages. Barely anything has happened. They're just holding these little jiggle peaks. Finally, we get a push coming through. Zodi just walks on into sight. Benji with the refag. And now full site control in the hands of the attackers. 2 versus 3. for the attackers, and Zodi is going to be sitting that diffuser down in default. Angelix trying to push back up, but Rose is caught out by the cover of Mr. Joe. Now it's all on Angelix. He's top fragging for his side, but in a 1 versus 3. Oh! So what? Going for the knife, but it's all blues for the Miles Davis fan as Angelix whips round and takes him out. Zodi now on very little HP. This is certainly winnable for Angelix, and the frag comes out to try and cover. Oh no! Did he just down himself with a frag grenade? That's ridiculous. Oh my goodness, Mr. Joe has to hold this perfectly now. 23 seconds left. It's possible for Angelix to win this out. He gets the spray. He has the information now that Mr. Joe's on the other side of this wall. He just has to win the fight. Peeks him, sees him, but Mr. Joe takes his head off. Angelix falls, and Princesses once again hold on to another round. Attackers now moving on to match point.
That grenade could have changed the tide of it. Noel, the player in question, going, "Observer science, please tell me you didn't catch it." I don't think we saw the nade getting pulled out at least, but we knew what happened. Yeah. We could tell the story. Well, great shots, great initial fight. I said it would be a messy execution. It certainly was. It was trading left, right, and center, but a wave of blue cascading there. And this is just such a tricky fight. Oh my. I looked away for a brief moment, perhaps in that moment. Twitch got very aggressive there.
I think she went for the knife.
I think so as well. Oh, but that grenade could have completely turned the tide of the battle, but it wasn't to be the case, as Mr. Joe was, well, had an ice coursing through his veins that one to close it out, as Princesses find themselves sitting pretty as a 6-3 advantage, moving on the match point here. Hookah Billiards will be the defensive side of choice yet again. Can the Imperium of Mandem make adjustments, make the changes required to hold the storm of the Princesses? I mean, I'm looking at this and going, Princesses are brute forcing their way through. It's coming down to 1 versus 1 mechanical fights. In terms of strategy, not a whole lot you can do to directly counter that. You can create angles, create one-ways, make nasty positions and crossfires to make those 1v1s harder to achieve. But if you give the Princesses an opportunity to find that 1v1, I think there's a pretty good odds that they're going to be able to win that out.
That Evil Eye is doing its best impression of a golden disc now, just to hide itself above that hatch. A very nice positioning of it, to be fair, because above the hatch means that you can't get a sledgehammer in there to easily dispense with it. You have to send an explosive that way. And speaking of sledge, can we just turn our attention to Zodi? I know we caught him, you know, in not his finest moment at the end of that round with the self-nade, but you have to give him credit for the triple kill that he actually obtained before that happened. He was basically the brute force, the sledgehammer that led the way into that hookah site and cleared it so effectively. And yeah, I think that was almost an embarrassing end for the Princesses, having 3 versus 1 in a post plant and almost throwing it due to a failed knife and a self-nade. We're going to see Zodi in action here again, and finally, Angelix gets his revenge on the hero of last round. Down goes the sledge, and the Roaming Legion now also 12-7. Oh, make it 13-7 with a lovely little peek there onto Mr. V, and suddenly he takes the throne.
A lovely little shot there. It pops around the corner supremely. And, well, it looks like Sowat's trying to queue up to be the next person to take the fight. Back up is there with Mr. Joe. But Angelix in a great position. Very far away from the initial objective. So forcing your way in to commit to trying to clear him away pulls you away from that kind of checklist of achieving map control critical to that execution. He looks to take another fight. Finds a lot of damage on the Mr. Joe. Continues to brawl away. But at this point, his presence alone is enough to disrupt the presence disrupt the flow of Princesses. Can he find any more damage as DJ gets aggressive and finds Ideal, lowers him into the grave. Angelix finds a third. It's all down to So What now in a 1 versus 5, but not long for this world as 4 kills for Legion there. Absolutely fantastic example of a very solid roam presence from Imperium of Mandem.
A disgusting collapse from the whole of Mandem to swarm the Sunrise Bar from multiple angles and make it impossible for Princesses to execute their game plan. They wanted to go in underneath, they wanted to clear utility, push up cooler vibes and get that push going from the hookah balcony, but Imperium of Mandem were having none of it. They read into it perfectly, counter-punch coming through. The initial kill from Angelix onto the sledge was so vital because you cannot begin to take control of Sunrise Bar and force your way up those stairs unless you have kitchen control, and Angelix was such a nuisance in that regard. He stayed put here the entire round, nailing headshot after headshot and getting that quad at the end to top it all off. Beautiful play from the SMG wielding Legion.
From start to finish in that round, Angelix was in complete and utter control. Not a single second did I doubt their ability. When you see someone pick 2 fights in rapid succession with such a level of confidence, you can just imagine that they're feeling it. They're in the zone for that round, and well, 4 kills. So proves that he was not the cleanest of rotations getting made there by DJ. He's not too happy with himself, but he can use the back of that MP5K to do some work, and someone's in. The Maestro to send some... what? I don't believe the Bailiff is 12 gauge shot.
I have no idea what type of shot it is, but either way, that's an interesting way of opening it up, because if anything, that favours the attackers trying to hold from delivery, right? If you have a foot-level hole right next to the anchor spot, then they can just see your feet before you peek. So, a little bit questionable there. I would maybe adjust that entire thing, maybe just to make it a bit more of a straight walk hole at this point, but no time left and very limited resources. You've got the punching of Rose, you've got the Bailiff, and I mean, I played a lot of Maestro, trust me. Making rotates with the Bailiff is not fun. So, I'll leave a little bit of... oh my god, was that a prone shot through the drone hole, taking down Ideal? I think it was. If
that was from the drone hole, that is...
That's horrible.
Dude, that drone hole. Yeah, our wonderful observer confirming, yes it was, so Ideal is not going to be happy with that one. Slain out through a letterbox, essentially. He's going to get recovered left on 20 HP, but nonetheless, it's not going to be Ideal to take that much damage early in a round. And god damn it, it's... Oh, man.
I haven't been keeping tally.
I think that's the first time.
No, you definitely did it earlier. You definitely did
Oh,
it earlier.
yeah, with the Maestro run, you're right. So I've got 2. I've made 2 Ideal references. Can I make it another one? Perhaps we might see some more rounds. Give me that opportunity. If the Princesses falter here to close out Coastline, of course, they're on match point now, and lots of verticality being brought out. Lots of pressure being applied on all these power positions deep inside of Kegs and Kitchen itself. It will be a tricky round to ensue as Ideal, though must tread carefully due to only being on 20 HP, and well, I speak too soon. He's going to be slain out very rapidly by that Alder.
It came eventually. Getting the down earlier on, but now finished off by the Alder. And Zodi trying to contend with this roaming presence of Benji, the Jaeger, who's now moved his way to pool. Scipio has taken a bit of damage from these vertical holes that have been made by the sledge, so what working them as a Nomad, and now Mr. Joe opening up even more with these breaching rounds. But look at the utility that's left now. We've got 2 frag grenades and 1 breaching round on the side of the attack. They're going to need to save some of those for clearing the site utility, such as those Evil Eyes. And now with Angelix taking out Mr. Joe, that's 1 less explosive. Make it none as down goes Zodi. This is going to be so difficult for the 2 remaining attackers to get this 2 versus 5 under their belt, knowing that there's so much utility on site as well, fighting through these vertical holes. So what's trying to find something, he takes the better half of an impact nade to his feet there, and is finally finished off on White Stairs. Now it's all up to Mr. V. He will run outside. So what is virtually dead in the water right now, not being confirmed, but this is an effective 1 versus 5. And we're staring down the barrel of a flawless round here for Imperium of Mandem. 30 seconds left. He will throw out that smoke canister, and that will telegraph his exact position to the defense. They know that he's outside kitchen window now, deciding to rotate over to... Wow. To Pink. But Angelix is there. Of course he is. Once again, a flawless round now for IOM, and they have clawed their way back into this one. They were 6-3 down. Now they look to be contesting match point.
This is a very interesting turn of events. As you said, they've turned this game around, and now we go to round number 12. The end of regulation. Can they draw this into overtime? Ideal there. Oh, that is just nasty. We see the blue silhouette there, downing this a bit. Oh, you hate to see it. You really do. How many times in your experience have you kind of opted to go like, you know what, I'll be cheeky. I'll try and slam someone through this drone hole, and you just get met by someone staring you down going, oi, oi.
That is what they say. And it being the Mandem, they definitely say that.
Certainly so.
The Mandem have been slapping these past couple of rounds. Our observers pointed out to us that the Princesses, they haven't gathered a kill in 2 whole rounds now. Ever since we saw Zodi manage to clean up on that hookah attack, we've seen very little action from these attackers. And now, have they gone off the boil? Have they just taken their foot off the gas for slightly too long? And are they letting Imperium of Mandem waltz their way back into this one? Angelix has certainly had a huge say in what has happened. I mean, He was, I think, rocking 10 kills a couple of rounds ago, and now he's on 17. He's taken this game by the scruff of the neck and said, you know what? We are forcing an overtime. We do not want to drop any more points today.
That's a great attitude to have from an individual player, being able to stand up and say, you know what, fellas? Let's get this done. Let's force this into overtime. Let's show exactly how good we are. And that's what you need. Someone to step up and have that leadership role. Not necessarily your IGL can do it. Anyone can bring that passion, bring that energy into a squad. And right now, it has been Angelix. An absolutely storm of a performance in our previous 2 rounds. And really being the bane of existence for the Princesses. But can Princesses now, on the end of regulation, at the very end of the road, get this closed out right here, right now, and confirm max points for themselves? Because you know, they want to be able to grow their advantage at the top of the table best they can, and if they can win this, they'll not only be able to take that top spot, but be, I believe, 2 points clear there. So they're going to have to battle hard with this one to be able to get themselves all 3 points.
They really don't want 2 out of the day, and that's a bit of an unfortunate breach there from Ideal. I think he was hoping to get the hatch with it as well. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he's just opening around. There we go. That's what he wanted. And a nice little sliver of vision as well to the other side of that sort of pillar in the middle of pink. But main anchor point of that pink bar itself still firmly in the hands of the defenders, and now DJ7 is contending with a lot of vertical angles here, and there's a hole above that bar as well, so he has to fly out of pink into blue, and now the attackers have all the control they wanted. This is what they were trying to do in the first place when they were attacking this site before. The only difference was they managed to they lost a couple of bodies pushing down Cool Vibes. Now that they've cleared out and have full control of Hookah, this could be theirs. That said, Angelix and Rose have gone for a massive flank into Pool, opening up this wall with an impact and getting a massive double.
This could have turned the tide. Mr. Joe trying to do his best to fight against the odds, but getting himself traded away by Benji. A 4 versus 2 as Imperium Mandem grow in strength and power as this game is played out. This is going to be intriguing now. It's going to be a very critical position for Princesses. They have to isolate these gunfights. They cannot risk exposing themselves to any prominent threats. But Rose doesn't care. Gets aggressive and finds second in the round for them. And that's going to reduce the Princess to 1. Mr. V, an AK-12, tries to brawl down towards Hookah. But not long for this server as Rose finds 3. As that's going to be Imperium Mandem claiming round number 12 and forcing us all the way to overtime.
Rose stepping up big in that round, but the coordination on the flank from Imperium of Mandem was what won them that round in particular, sending about 3 bodies all the way round up white stairs into Pool. What we're missing here as well, you can see it, just the outline of the Jaeger pushing from VIP as well, and he grabs that kill onto the final attacker holding in Hookah. A monumental flank right there, trusting the anchors to hold firm and just buy them a little bit more time, delay that push through the walk-in, and allow the slaughter in Hookah Balcony, or Hookah Lounge to go down.
I really like seeing teams being able to read into that initial entry point from their opposition and completely collapse upon it, because, well, when you lose your fangs, your claws early in a matchup, when your entries are slain out, it can leave lots to be desired from any team, and Imperium Mandem have played around that aspect absolutely supremely. Those previous 3 rounds we've just witnessed, 2 of which were flawless, they have just denied the entryway, took the fights, been brave on those decisions, and Princesses, well, they haven't had an answer. They've had nothing to be able to retort or rebuke with this, and well, it shows. They're hemorrhaging away rounds, and now find themselves in overtime, and momentum very much inside of Imperium Mandem. If they can collapse even further now and find themselves in overtime, this might be an upset story. We've seen so many upsets during this Playday so far. Are we in store for another one? Only time can tell as the prep phase for our very first overtime round comes to conclusion as action starts to roll out.
Some interesting holes being made there, and I mean that in a complimentary way this time around. Good holes from above, allowing you to watch delivery from Penthouse. Very, very difficult to force your way in there now as an attacker unless you've cleared Penthouse, and it looks like that vertical roam play is what's coming out from Imperium of Mandem in this first overtime round. Ideal has the number on this Jaeger inside of Aqua, who's managing to rotate his way through to Pool. Ideal now probably saying, someone hop on my drone, I've got a kill for myself, you've got to give me calls. But that drone is gone now. He's going to try and fight it instead. Opens up the angle. Now the Jaeger just playing sort of very riskily here. He's pinched right now. He knows that there's someone inside of VIP and he doesn't have much of a chance of retreat, so he just wants to take one down and head for the hills. But maybe he's a little bit tentative because that player inside of VIP isn't actually there yet.
I think this is going to be a slower round. I think Princesses have been a little bit rattled right now. They need to collect themselves, shake off the cobwebs, and kind of just get their rhythm back because it's been disrupted. And I think you're going to be seeing that in play right now. The entryway has been much, much slower from them now, and I think that's very much a reply because they've been getting shut down on that initial push. Benji, though, between a rock and a hard place here, he might get aggressive towards VIP, but knowing that there's some progression coming towards Aqua, his life is very much in danger, and there's no one there for direct trade. He's trying to trade some shots off through the wall, but I don't think he's going to be long for this as Ideal goes on the hunt, swings the corner, Red picks it up, but no! Benji wins the fight! He should have been dead to rights, but the trade is there! Rose pops up and trades off again, Zordy falls, and the Princesses once again hemorrhage off some casualties early in this round. And Imperium Mandem, all he must do now is sit tight and play the time.
Mr. Joe pretty injured as well, and now the attack is looking pretty bare bones. There's barely any skin left on those bones. As Ideal, oh man, I feel for him. He's been so incredible in past playdays, but he's really having a rough time of it right now. And that frag from Benji pretty much summarizes his entire sort of experience here today. That hard breach charge, not enough to create a soft walk, a bit of destruction, and instead, so what he's going to turn to his trusty primary to just shoot a load of holes out. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, well, you call it a secondary hard breach utility. What other name would you deem worthy for such a piece of kit?
Not now. Not this.
I always
not now.
Oh, you can't escape the great debate. Angelic still was able to find a kill during that discussion, and Rose gets another one, 2 in the round now, and well, so what? He's left alone, isolated, cold outside the bar, tries to make an entryway, but the bouncer shuts him down with 5.56 LMG, removes him from the servers, and Mandem put themselves on the match point here on overtime. This is shaping up to be a very interesting result. No matter the victor, it's not going to be ideal for Princesses if they can claw this one back, but Imperium of Mandem, if they can close this out right here, right now, what an upset.
And what a shake-up to the standings that will create as well. We went into this match thinking Princess is certainly the favoured side, but now Imperium of Mandem just one round away from claiming 2 points from the Playday. Both sides already have one. Here's the fight that defined the round. Benji just swinging at the right time and taking the head off the Zofia. Doesn't matter that he gets refragged after that. And here, equally as important, Rose on the pickup to get that refrag. Very nicely done from Imperium of Mandem. They have that defensive win under their belts. They can now move on to their attack. So far, we've had a defensive-sided coastline, and having 2 defenses in your overtime certainly bodes well. But Princesses, they look very strong on this side. Penthouse will give them confidence. Can Imperium of Mandem crack this nut the 3rd time of asking?
I mean, this setup has been very efficient from the Princesses. It's very well thought out. You know, they have brought the same lineup on this side every single time they've went here, and it's been, well, very effective. As you mentioned, 2 victories on it. A rare sight to see the map, or see the site and see it being victorious. The story of those rounds have been Princesses found the opening kill, and from there it seems that Imperium Mandem just stalled out, didn't have a clear path or direction to follow, and didn't quite know exactly how the best way of attacking this objective is. It's very well set up, but perhaps an entryway via VIP or via Aqua side could give them that extra bit of map control that they might need to launch a better assault on it. Clearing top white as well could apply that pressure. Those mirror windows inside of Theater are a massive threat. They have that potential of verticality on the Ash as well, being able to clear those from below. A Buck may have been able to do it better, but still they have that option. Some early damage done to Ideal. Well, not early damage, an early death, and that's going to be a fantastic start from Imperium of Mandem, shutting down the Legion, one of the most active guns on that side, or one of the most, well, potent gunners, perhaps not in this matchup, but so far in the league. Now off the board, as we hear those Selma charges applying pressure close to the Aruni, doing a slight bit of damage, but still a swing with the Aruni comes out. Tracers whizzing just over these electrical boxes. A tricky fight nonetheless, but Rose using that verticality to displace these key positions. This is going to be an interesting round. 2 minutes remain, and Scorpio gets a kill. A trade-off there as Rose is going to a grave. Princesses still find themselves 1 player down.
Mr. V making a right nuisance of himself there, roaming on that bottom floor, grabbing a very key refrag onto Rose, punishing the vertical play that was trying to come out from Zofia, but they have done their job with that vertical play. They've managed to unseat that key position of VIP, and now they have a beachhead to begin attacking the site. This is the quickest that they've made work of it so far, and with this rotation open that the defense have made, if the attackers can get into VIP, they have a free plant spot. There's virtually no way to cover that, even from the mirror window on the far side of Penthouse. Tossing a C4 is very difficult from that position. So DJ7 and Co, they managed to read into this. They look like they're getting in position to try and plant, and DJ7 will go right for that right now. No vertical play coming through from Mr. V. The C4 will go out, but it goes too shy of the mark and just to the long angle instead. Mr. Joe trying to fight against the planter, but now DJ has successfully evacuated the site. Smoke does go out, and that's going to allow Mr. Joe to push on in, but he isn't the smoke himself, so he's not immune to the toxic gas. He has to wait. Mr. V trying to retake up 90, but will he expect Angelic's prone? Most likely not, if we see an AK-7 appear on our feed. That's why, but no, Mr. V does catch Angelic's, and now Benji does take down So What in response. We've now got a 3 versus 2, 3 versus 1. The attacker's surely going to lock this one out. Great shot onto the repelling player from Mr. Joe, but it could be too little too late, as now he has to try and find 2 kills and the defuse in the last few seconds. He finds 1, but it passes the 7-second mark. He will lose, and DJ7, the planter, will successfully sweep on up, get that freebie at the end, and Imperium of Mandem upset the balance here today on Coastline. 8-6, the final scoreline.
Third time's a charm to break down that defensive Penthouse, and so far in this Playday of Badass University All-Stars, this is our 3rd upset result. This Playday has shaken up the standings. Take a bow, Imperium of Mandem, with that one. A stellar performance. It looked like it was going to be dangerous and treacherous, but they clawed it back. They showed that they were in for the long haul, and they were able to pin Princess against the post and apply pressure all throughout that matchup. Massive congratulations to them.
And a huge dub for Angelix in particular. 20 kills at the end of the game. Rose with 15 as well. You've got to give credit to Mr. V and the others on the side of Princess as well. This was basically a game defined by a few key fraggers, and I feel as though Princess has really missed the presence of Ideal, who just wasn't his usual self. I'm sure he'll be back on top as soon as he can, but that was a bit disappointing for him. He has to say that to himself. I think he will look back at this and think that he could have performed better, but let's not take anything away from Imperium of Mandem. Such a good showing. They did finally manage to crack that Penthouse nut. That is pretty much what won them the game in the end. I mean, it was the winning round. And their defenses were fantastic, honestly. Angelix, especially with a 4k in round 10, a 3k in round 7, or 11. He just decimated the lobby today.
He absolutely did. A great performance from an individual on that individual basis. Come on, words work for me. But he was able to kind of grab his team by the scruff of the neck and go, all right, lads, right, let's win this now. Let's not give away any more free rounds. And when he started to step up, really starting to apply that pressure, we saw that, you know, the Princesses couldn't find a kill for 2 rounds in a row, and that really suffered them. I think that was a massive mental victory for them, and they were able to build upon that and get that victory. But what a match, what an opening for this broadcast. Hopefully the rest of the games this evening can continue to bring up that caliber. And well, speaking of the next games this evening, we'll have Coconut Cracked versus Sniper Monkeys, which I guarantee will also provide some fireworks. But for the time being, I believe we'll be cutting off to a little break, so grab yourself a lovely refreshing beverage, enjoy some time out in the sun perhaps, and we'll be right back when we're ready to hop into the action.
it's something in the air at that time. Don't know why. Always dream of you when spring comes. It's like the heat on my skin takes me back to the time met you on a Friday, halfway out at the door of the club, playing soul on the weekends. Stayed in bed till Wednesday. Fell in love with you right there and then. I was young, couldn't see that. Couldn't see that. Leather jacket though it's too cold. Saw your face in the crowd and I think we'll all die. Her just perfect, yeah, she's beautiful. Never thought you'd be here, it took me by surprise when I met you in the doorway. And a friend of a friend, never thought I would see you this soon, but hope she really loves you. 'Cause I swear you deserve everything. Wish that I knew that sooner. We got sober, it was over, but I told you I'd do it all over again. At your place or a spring break, a heartache, I'd do it all over again. Do it all over
Hello everybody, we are back with another Badass University All-Stars League game. I'm Jerry the Music Man. I'm joined by the Michael Flatley of the mic, the cardboard cow connoisseur, and the answer to the age-old question, how make horse go faster? Whip it.
You told me it was good. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. Jerry, you put me to shame with your intros. You put so much time into that one. I wasn't expecting that one, but you've been teasing this for weeks now, absolutely weeks, and I finally get to hear it. Oh,
Yeah,
that was an honor. That was an
a-
honor.
A little bit too much effort went into that one, I have to admit. But we're here, and we've got a good game ahead of us. A bottom of the table scrap. Coconut, coconut, coconut cracked. One of my favourite team names in the whole damn thing. And Sniper Monkeys. Neither team have so far amassed a win, if I'm not mistaken. No, neither team. No, I'm incorrect. Coconut Cracked have managed to get one win, but Sniper Monkeys are winless. And yeah, this is going to be really, really revealing. I think this is a must-win for both sides if they want to make their way to the playoffs come the end of the season.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. One interesting thing coming to this though is we are seeing coconut cracked. Or is it coconut
It's
cracked?
3. I can't.
Oh.
Apparently, I can't do fingers and pens at the same time. But yeah, 3.
No. Right, well, coconut cracked. We'll just abbreviate it for the ease of this. They are playing with subs, so that is one thing to keep an eye on. But we do have our rosters up, so we can have an idea of what we're in store for this one. So, well, looking through this, coconut cracked. Well, Jerry, I'm bad with names. You got to help me out.
We got Dicta, Orca, James, Tulloch, and Boris, all hailing from different universities as well. One of these few that are a full house of, no, a full house would be 3 and 2. What am I going to say? It's like a straight flush or something of universities?
I guess
that,
yeah, that kind of works, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And then Titchy, Quick Jab, Nom the Nom, Sturksy, and the Hyde on the side of Sniper Monkeys. Again, one of these sides that is sort of mixed it all up. So we've got 2 complete sort of mix-ups here. And interestingly enough, Sniper Monkeys, a lot of these players, particularly Sturksy, they were fantastic performers in the first season of BUAR. They've had a much rougher go of things starting out this season.
They really have. They're yet to really kind of hit the ground running. They're really struggling, and I believe in the current standings, they're second from bottom. And that's not a good position to be in, considering that you've got such a strong roster and with such a great depth of talent. They need to be able to put these puzzle pieces together and start getting results on the board. And hopefully today can be the start of that, because we're not quite at the halfway point yet, so there's still time to make that surge up the standings. And considering that we've just witnessed the top of the table be kind of ravaged by upset results, it could be a great time to start making your ascent to that top 4.
Certainly could be. It's a perfect opportunity for both these sides. And well, like we said, they've had a pretty rough go of things so far. Between them, only one win across the 6 matches that they've played. That was Coconut Crack's second week against Froggers, where they won 7-5 on Oregon. Besides that, they haven't seen any success, no overtimes even. So, yeah, one of them has to step up big here and start pushing their way up the table. It won't get them very far. The most that they can jump is 1 position, maybe not even that, but it will be a start, and the points are what matters really more than the positions at this point in the season. Table beginning to shape up, but it's still not a true reflection of who's going to be right at the top come the end.
I mean, this is really going to be an interesting play day, just because of all the upset results we've had, on our previous match today and yesterday. But before we can theorycraft, we have our map bounds to show towards you. So me and Jerry, we took a little bit of a sneak peek. We know where we're going, but it's going to be an interesting one nonetheless. Clubhouse Cafe, they're going to be your auto bans. They were getting played out last week by the respective teams. So the first set of actual bans coming out is going to be Consulate and Chalet. I am always sad to see Chalet go. It makes me so sad. I love the map, but Villa, Oregon next to go, and that means we're going back to the wonderful Golden Shores of Ibiza, to Coastline. Well, I've already used my introduction line for the map, but I guess I can do it again. We're going to have a bar brawl between these 2 teams. It's going to be an exciting one. Jerry, I can't wait to hop into this one, because this is, as you said, a must-win for both these rosters.
Certainly is. And yeah, that map ban phase, I mean, Concert Chalet being the first actual bans really sort of pointed to me towards a pair of teams that are like, we don't want to get too aggressive. We don't want to go for these sort of fragger heavy maps. And then suddenly Villa and Oregon come down as the final 2 bans, and we're left with Coastlines. I'm like, wait, never mind. We're on Coastline. It's going to be a bloodbath. And we just saw a very strange Coastline. It was very reserved, as we pointed out during the course of the game. I do wonder if the sort of I can't imagine Sturksy being that passive on this map. But then we just saw Max D do almost exactly that. So maybe people are just sort of paring back a little bit more now on Coastline. Who knows? I guess we'll get to see.
I think perhaps the more tentative approach could have been something that was just kind of a result from the stylistic clash between our 2 previous teams, Princess and Imperial of Mandem. And again, it's a tough thing to kind of tell now. We're not in the server yet. We're just theory crafting, looking, what we know. We've not seen these teams play Coastline yet. This is a new map for both these rosters, so we are going to be very much a learning experience, seeing what they're bringing out. And again, you mentioned Sturksy. You're not going to imagine he's going to be playing too passive. So I think you're going to have some pockets of aggression. There's great ability on both teams to have that level of aggression. Orca's a player I'm going to, I would say keep your eye out. She can be very potent if given the chance, to get aggressive with that gunplay. So keep an eye on that battle as it continues to play out. But again, I'm going to keep my predictions to myself, my ambitions for this map perhaps to myself, because they were somewhat wrong in my kind of initial projection of what we would have seen on Coastline previously.
One thing I'm kind of looking forward to with Sniper Monkeys here is that every time I've seen them play, they've been super efficient on their attacks in the entry. They've been very, very quick to claim any ground that's offered up to them by the defense. On a map like Coastline, you can't afford to do that on the defense. I've seen them play Oregon, I've seen them play a bit of Cafe, and they've been very swift on their entry. If you're a swift entry team on attack on Coastline, you win the map. Like, you basically have it, because it's so difficult to hunker down on any of these sites with all 5 players. You will find a man advantage on the entry if you can be quick about it. So banning the Jackal right here, CCC cracked with their first one, and that's going to slow down the entry from Sniper Monkey, perhaps something that they've seen of their team, or perhaps a comfort ban, because it's fairly common that you see Jackal bans in sort of, unranked, sort of middle ranks, and I'm personally a big fan of the Jackal ban on this map in particular. It does make the job of clearing through a little bit tougher. Ying off the board as well means that some of that execute utility, particularly when it comes to the delivery and kitchen site, will be hampered, and Valkyrie going off the board is going to deny some of that early aggression that is often needed from the defense. Mirror being the last one, that's going to mean that we're going to see a slightly different approach to the defenses than we just saw on the previous match. I'm just recognizing a name. We got King Cairo in the lobby here, one of my favorite observers, and I'm just going to give him a shout out because I can see him. Hello.
You gotta give people appreciation when you see them. He's also
Wait, is Ideal subbing in?
yes,
He just played.
he is. He's pulling a double header with this one. Perhaps
Okay.
Perhaps he treated our very first coastline game as a warm up. Perhaps keep your eye on that. Maybe he can find more than. I believe he ended up with 6 kills on our last matchup. Hopefully he can find a little bit more than that, because I think everyone expects a little bit more from him, and I think himself, he does expect more performance from himself. So will he be able to find that success here? Hookah Lounge will be our very first side of choice. It's going to get brought out. We see the 6 pick away from the Rooney onto that mute. So those jammers going to be able to stop a little bit of that information in game, as well as deny these 4 walls that can be opened up from our hard breach utility, such as that Habana getting brought out by TXC. I'm excited for this one. I really think we're going to see a little bit more fireworks. I think there's going to be a lot more aggression in this matchup, and I cannot wait to dive into it. Setup-wise, I don't think we're going to be seeing anything too much on the bleeding edge. It looks like they're just going to be kind of playing around the default strategies, and that's how Coastline is to be expected. No one's going to be developing this map and trying to create the next, revolutionary strategy like what SSG done with 2-on-2 roam game on Clubhouse. No one's going to be finding something like that. So I think we're going to be seeing pretty much meat and potato siege, but mechanics are going to be the defining factor of this matchup.
Probably will be. I'm having a crisis right now, because I'm recognizing so many of these names from very different places, and I think we've got a few subs in the mix as well. Some of them from other teams, which is, that's really throwing me off right now. I'm pretty sure Dumfries usually plays for another side, but I can't quite put my finger on it right now. And yeah, I
casted him yesterday, actually, and I
can't remember the there
side.
We go. So yeah, it's all about the love here, and we got just confirmed 3 subs on the side of Coconut Cracked. So perhaps the sort of pre-match predictions maybe a little bit askew. Obviously, these are good players, and individual play will make a difference. But will that just throw apart some of the gelling? Will we see a very kind of fast and loose play style to account for that, or are they actually going to be trying to sort of mix things up? Correction as well. It's actually 2 subs on Coconut Cracked and 1 on the side of Sniper Monkeys, which is ideal, of course. Nom is going to open the scoring against Orca. The Malusi going down. But with that set and forget utility, it's really only the gun and the C4 that you've lost there.
Yeah, great opening kill there, and that's going to give a massive advantage now to launch into this objective play. Nom though, inside of blue bar, waiting for that extra bit of information to pounce. Vertical an option if they want to take it. Breaching charges are great at chewing through that floor and can displace key positions. So, on the terms of that though, it's only really been the Ash to get this initial amount of entry. The X-Kairos pellets I mentioned can be used to open up that main wall, and they're being done so. Here we're going to be seeing, well, this is going to be Call Me Dicta on the presence inside of Theater, and this is just going to be, well, trying to deny any further entry points, deny any other foothold that can get grabbed, and we see all these blue silhouettes still on the roof over towards Aqua's side. They haven't made that initial entryway, and we see, we've only got a minute 15 left to go. That has to happen now, and as they cascade in, they're going to find themselves in tricky positions, because it looks like they're going to get into a chokehold here, and we see so many of them queuing up very close to each other. This is read into. Could collapse absolutely supremely and close this round out.
Oh, Call Me Dicta finding Nom there with a good response to that opening frag. Now we're even man count. Dicta's still lurking around 90. She's being a bit of a pain, to be honest, for this attacking side of Sniper Monkeys. They need to deal with her, otherwise they're going to be walking to an effective crossfire between her and Dumfries here, who's holding firm right by the bomb. This is a very aggressive position to be held, because you can't move to the left. You have to circle back round behind the bomb. That air jab comes out. He does spot it. He's able to shoot it out. So, a bit of a waste utility there from the attack. But the swing comes through from Dicta, just pushing up through luggage and gets the kill. TXC just downstairs, unable to respond to this. And now, with only 20 seconds left, Sniper Monkeys, they're really floundering. They've dropped Diffuser on balcony. They have to try and get a push going. They still haven't pinned down this Jaeger. TXC, no, that's not how you do it. Takes out the sub, and Cairo Dumfries tag in with the final 2 kills. Crack to make it look easy as an absolute massacre in Aqua, and the whole of Coconut Cracked are sleeping with the fishes.
That was a very, very peculiar round indeed. The entryway from Nom de Nom was so quick to clear downstairs in Office and Blue and get that initial control. But no one else on the team had a defined route of entry. They were floundering there. They just couldn't push in and get that initial control they needed across the entirety of the map to make an execution work. And as I said, we saw all those blue silhouettes crowding up in one corner of the map, and Coconut Crack were able to collapse supremely and get themselves that early round victory. Kitchen Service our next side of choice, and King Cairo is going to be flashing the Warden, but 6 picking away to the Maestro, bringing out that one of my favorite weapons in the game. I'm sure at this point we've said it so many times, but anyway, 81 rounds to hurt, you'll love to see it.
One of your favourite guns in the game, and no question about it, it's a powerful beast. Certainly in the right hand can do a lot of damage, and I have no doubt that Cairo is one of those dangerous pairs of hands. I love that we've got a bit of a kind of observer versus observer, or well, Cairo will also cast, but Ideal and Cairo on opposite sides here. I've worked with them both. They're both great stand-up guys, and I wonder who's going to come out on top here. Max, he's got some, redemption to set for himself here. He's in the middle of this redemption arc, right? Can he bring home the money for the team he's subbing in for? That would be a really interesting story come the end of the Playday, if he manages to get more points for the team he subs in for than the team that he just played for. And both on Coastline as well. He's well practiced here. Maybe it doesn't harbour very good memories.
No, you gotta at least hope that perhaps playing Coastline earlier is gonna kind of clue him in to be able to find himself that little bit of more success. And if Ideal can, act as a substitute to be able to try and get that win for Sniper Monkeys, it would be their very first win in this league. So this would be a massive benefit for them if they could do so. And as we mentioned before we'd even dived into the server, this is must win. Sniper Monkeys find themselves second from the bottom. The only team below them right now is Minutemen, who haven't had a stellar performance so far. And well, Nom de Nom finding the opening kill yet again on the Call Me Dicta. A great shot there, a long range one, finding the Jaeger and putting some pressure. But
is that the real Yana?
No, that wasn't. But I certainly think the Gemini Replicator saw the information at work, and well, she's going to have to fall back and retreat now, as position is known. She can no longer persist inside of VIP. Drones, though, cast getting in, taking them out of the fray. Remember, killing a drone is a very important asset as well, making sure you're limiting that information. But upstairs, the time is going to be imperative to burn away, and Orca's in a great position to do so. But I speak too soon, as Ideal on the roof of all places. Oh, the demise of so many ranked players from that position finds the kill on Orca. Oh, roof, Ideal, SMH on the roof. What are you?
He's a sniper monkey. That's exactly what it is. Right now, he's sitting atop, and I mean, it's interesting. It's not a monkey playstyle because you're just holding an angle, but he's sniping. We'll give him that. I feel like this is a much stronger round for the attack right now, and we can see it as Ideal does manage to down his opposite number in King Cairo. Observer number 1, give yourself a check against your name there. Nom de Nom takes down Dumfries, and now JMXC, the smoke player on the side of Coconut Cracked, trying to find his way back to site and do anything about this impending push. Sturksy is getting the diffuser down under, well, absolutely no pressure whatsoever. It will be successful. JM does find a kill onto Nom de Nom, but the immediate swing back from TXC is there to shut down the smoke. That's it. That's the round.
Very, very solid round indeed. They were able to close that out. I mean, that entryway was very supreme again. It was very quick and concise, being able to find their foothold, find that initial map control, and once they had control of the upstairs, well, they just collapsed towards the objective, winning their gunfights as they proceeded there, and got themselves tied up on the scoreline. 1 round apiece now as they go back down the kitchen service. And, well, Orca picking up and flashing that Vigil right now. An interesting choice getting brought out. Might be harder to hunt down Isolate with those drones.
My ranked stack, or my unranked stack at the moment, because we're not feeling it. We're in one of those, periods of time. They hate me at the moment because I'm hard sticking Vigil and Dokkaebi and bringing Boss G all the time. I'm having so much damn fun with the Boss G. It's unreal. I really want to see it come out from either of these, but no, they're taking the more sensible option.
Even
I
though
cry.
I saw a boss G getting played last night.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, it was a near attempted spawn peek. I can't, man. But my first foray in the NA last night was some of the wildest games I've ever seen. And like, genuinely, it was like I didn't imagine such a culture shock of watching North American studio casting it being like, oh yeah, I'll step on in, it's gonna be grand. Oh my god, what's happening? Everything's on fire. There's a rappel down the middle of Villa on the trophy. What's going on? So it was great fun.
Nice. I mean, that has to be like the pinnacle of stupid siege. If you see someone rappelling down the middle of Villa, then you know you're in for a fun time, right? Like, there's no logical reason to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is a situation where the Boshi would be perfect, right? You're holding an angle, you get an instant down. This is why I love it, because I don't play visual like you're supposed to play visual. I hold angles. So,
Okay. This
and
is
it works.
The Jerry Music Man Masterclass. How to get yourself into Jerry rank. We'll just
Hold angles, you'll be gold 2 by no time.
Oh, Jerry, you're absolutely slamming in ranked. My God.
Really not.
I'm yet to even finish.
Not
my
going
placements
well.
this season.
I haven't. I've done like I think 7 of my placements, and then I was like, no, too scared. Got good KD at the moment. I mean, my Yana KD is something like 2, which is nuts. I'm
Oh.
loving Yana.
Yo, hold up. Are you in the mystical land of it?
Oh,
Hi, Orca. Bye, Nom. Bye. Oh, Orca
Oh, no.
looks for a second one here, but nope, shut down. That's unfortunate. They try to use those bullet holes, but the AK sings sweet, and Orca falls to the grave. But I just think though, are you a wild caster with a positive KD, Jerry?
it's a positive KD where I'm way below the rank that I should be, so it feels like it's too easy.
No. That doesn't concern anyone. Just as long as the tab stats say positive KD, they're
Oh, yeah, of
completely
course.
fine.
It's all about the stats.
Yeah.
What's going on in this game? We've seen a kill each way. Nom the Nom dead, Orca dead. Still plenty of drones available for Sniper Monkeys, but with 1 minute 35 on the clock, it's they have the control they need. I don't know what take they're going to go for here. Their options are open. They have execute utility in the form of... Oh wait, no, they don't have smokes. They've brought flashes on the Dokkaebi. That's interesting. So...
I wonder, does Dokkaebi even have smokes anymore? Because the utility gets shuffled around so often.
It's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those operators that like every patch is like, what's Dokkaebi got in her back pocket today? Oh, I don't know. It's a can of Coke. Here you go. It just seems that it's always in flux. But some kills coming out there. Stokesy gets one, hits another one, as Dumfries was able to find Ideal. That's going to find us in a 3 versus 2 advantage for Sniper Monkeys. You said they have the utility to make an execution work, and yes, they've lost some or took some casualties there, but they still have that utility. The Dokkaebi call, that logic bomb ringing off from the back pockets there. Dumfries from a vertical position is going to find himself slain out by Hid, and that's going to be a triple kill for the Nomad, putting Dicta in a 1 versus 3. The plant's not going down yet, so Dicta has a chance to pounce, cause some chaos, but well, slapped down very quickly by the EBR inside of Sunrise. A suppressed EBR of all things as well, and that's going to be Sniper Monkeys claiming their second round.
There's something very satisfying about the suppressed DMR in any game. It takes me back to Call of Duty, where I'd be using that thing. Like, in any kind of DMR, I'd slap a suppressor on it. It would just be like... Doof, 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 doof. They don't know where you're coming from. It's beautiful. And it's just satisfying. The hide, though, satisfying the win condition for that round. With the vertical kills, superb from him. Incredible to find that entry as well, making sure that the refrag came down on to, I believe it was Orca on the Vigil, who just went unchecked at the top of White Stairs. So, important that the hide made that play, and then getting the double afterwards to unseat all the anchors just made it so much easier for the attackers to kind of bait that final bit of aggression from the defenders. They didn't even really need to push into sight at the end. You saw the final kill coming through from that beautifully suppressed MK14. It was from Sunrise Bar. They actually didn't get a push going, really. They just kind of picked apart the defenders as they tried to return to site instead. And that was just clinical from Sniper Monkeys. They found themselves a nice 1-round lead now. And cycling back to the hookah, coconut cracked. This is where they've seen their only success so far. So hopefully they can replicate it, but they're going to need less. They're probably not going to get as lucky as they did last time with the team kills coming out from Sniper Monkey. They have to make sure that they bring something of their own to the table.
Oh, certainly so. Going upstairs to hookah. Again, strategy-wise, this is exactly what we saw them bringing out on the very first round. No adaptions coming out, but again, on a map like this, it's very rare you'll see teams go for a broad stroke approach when they change what their setups are. It's always the minute things like player positioning and perhaps relocating some utility. I like this Claymore actually being posted up on that small coffee table. It's going to make it a little bit more unpredictable to root it out, because if you're looking for a Claymore, your eyes automatically train to the bottom of the floor. Window repelled now by TXC, and it's going to be using that ERB again, suppressed with Dokkaebi. And great potential to cause some damage. Is a pretty decent DMR as well. So will they be able to walk in that line of sight? A very advanced position to be able to split this site in half. And ideal. Oh, he's going for it. I think no. He's going to opt to not get hyper aggressive there. He spotted that he had perhaps a chance to strike. The player on base was on the drone. That was the Maestro. But ultimately, he's going to decide to play a little bit more sensibly, but perhaps punished for that, as Dumfries is there to collect the kill on the ideal. A trade-off is likely to happen. That was Orcus left in DBNO, as the hit's going to be able to confirm that kill, and yes, he is, so that's going to be a 4 versus 4 to ensue. A minute 50 left in this round, and already we're seeing perhaps the action and tempo of this game begin to pick up. Dumfries, so here's the player on the window, knows there's a repeller, spots out the barrel, tries to get aggressive, but just narrowly misses the shots required to down or kill, and Nom trying to lead in now, trying to get control inside of hookah, but this push is somewhat fractured and somewhat interesting. There's no presence inside of Coastline itself. They're all trying to battle from windows and balconies. I'm not too sure I'm keen on this approach from Sniper Monkeys.
Yeah, I think Coconut Cracked have read into it as well, and they're backing off, they're playing for time, they're making sure that they still have angles onto the site, but not onto them via those windows and balconies and such. And that's exactly what they need to be doing right now. Although that aggression from the Malusi, going for that run out, trying to pressure onto Hookah Balcony, will make them think twice about hanging out here for too long. Sniper Monkeys need to get some action going. 4 versus 4 with a minute left, and a plant attempt coming through behind the cover of the benches. I think it's actually going to be successful. No, it's not. JMC just about managed to whip round and get the kill with the headshot. Call Me Dictator with another. Sturksy refrags. Nom goes down, and now it's all onto Sturksy. His sight push has gone to crap, basically. There's nothing left of it. Drops off the balcony. JMXC rather, with the final kill with the Alder. I believe that was a 3k from the Maestro in that round. Lovely collapse there. And Coconut Cracked. They tie us back up to a piece.
Certainly, so there's Sturksy falling into the welcoming jaws of the Alder, who's just looking for more victims to demise. And, well, that's everything he's mentioned. 2 rounds apiece now, moving in round number 5. Closely contested matchup, and this is what you like to see. There's really been a back and forth struggle here. Look at this, the Maestro finding one, denying that plan. Just continues to get aggressive. You have so many rounds at your disposal, and Nom, well, stuck in the middle of a door frame. The Claymore to his left can't help him there, and he's going to be out of the fight. And that's a great round for Coconut Cracked. Can they continue and build upon that victory as they move downstairs to kitchen and service? Otherwise, setup-wise, exact same thing. Orca's going to be back on that Vigil. I wonder if she can have a little bit more success in this. Perhaps not get 1-for-1 upstairs. That might be a massive benefit. Because Vigil is an operator where you can just sit and exist in one area and have a massive amount of control over an entire map. Because when you've kind of turned that Wi-Fi router on your back, upstairs, downstairs of you, all the drones are going to get disrupted by that, so it can make it very difficult to pinpoint exact locations of Vigil. On a map the size of Coastline, you know, that might not work out as well, but playing for more map control could really benefit, as Orca seemingly doing that, going to bunker up inside of Sunrise.
3 drones already lost in the prep phase doesn't bode well for Sniper Monkeys, to be honest. I just caught sight of that, and these are the 2 drones that are left. We can see the work being done by, well, I mean, if you lose drones in the prep phase, it's kind of more your own fault than the defense. Oh my god, this is... What? I mean, I know you're lacking intel, but... Like, that... maybe it was a skin issue, or just a misclick. I think it's probably a skin issue.
Yeah,
Looks like it.
Yeah,
issue. Passion skin. Unfortunate there, TXC having
that
to,
is
be taken down.
passionate.
Is that skin legal?
Wind Bastion. That is a Wind Bastion skin, my man. Oh,
All right.
how many Wind Bastions I run? A lot. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. I was gonna say that guy in ranked, but no, I'm that guy in unranked. I'm running full Ember Rise, full Wind Bastion.
The passion. It seeps out of your veins. Orca, right here. I was gonna say, to sort of tag onto your point about a Vigil, it quite often works quite nicely to pair the Vigil roaming with someone else, because, oh my god.
Oh, great shot.
Nom the Nom just got slapped hard. That is the worst start for Sniper Monkeys. Pair that with the sort of essential TK that had to come through, and now the remaining players here, Sturksy, Hyde, and Ideal, they've got a lot of work to do. This is already an uphill battle. They might as well write this round off. Barely any effort expended from Coconut Cracked to give them a real challenge here. King Cairo finding Ideal, and this isn't exciting. Like, they're just killing for fun right now, and yeah, the Hyde and Sturksy, they've got one drone between the two of them. Any other drones that are out right now are stationary. They have to stay put. They're just flank drones, what have you. You've got the air jabs, perhaps, from the Hyde, but very little in the way of execute utility. Those EMPs are going to cloud some sort of hearing, I suppose. That's all they're going to do. Orca's still aggressive, just hungry for more frags. Dicta finds the Hyde outside, and now Orca is hunting for the last one. Sturksy in a 1 versus 5. This could be the beginning of an incredible tale for the Sniper Monkeys, but no. JMXC closing out possibly one of the most boring rounds I've ever seen. Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna have to echo that as well. You know, I mean, we've seen rounds and rounds of Oregon, for example. We don't see action for a minute 45, and well, I think I would have rather seen one of those. Just that unfortunate team kill took the kind of the wind out of the sails for that round, and well, when you have that early advantage and players like Orca stand up and deny that entry point very quickly via Sunrise Door, well, you're not going to have much of a chance in this round, and that was ultimately the demise of it. What a shot here, by the way. Just the moment sees a pixel out of place, just bonk, like, beautiful. Absolutely fantastic there. Not quite at one top, but Nom the Nom's not going to be too happy that he's going to get his head cleaved from his shoulders, and Coconut Cracked find themselves in the advantage now. Driver's seat position, 3-2 the scoreline, moving in the round number 6 to final of this defensive half for them. Can they make it a 4-2 split? Can they move on to what historically and currently the attacking side is weighted forwards on this map? Can Coconut Cracked get there with an advantage? Or even a further advantage, eh?
Would be nice after the defense split. They're not going to be too fussed about the nature of that win either, and that little, not quite one tap from Orca was the cherry on top of, well, a round. I don't think there's any cake underneath it. It was just a cherry, basically. But it's a tasty cherry nonetheless, so good on you, Orca. We've got ourselves a bars defense, like you said. This is going to be a difficult one. It's the hardest site to defend in the sort of normal rotation of the lot. So Coconut Cracked, having defended Kuka and Kitchen, they have to move on here. The Mute Jam is going to help, certainly, with delaying any sort of office push, the way they've been stacked to deny drones and breaching from that position. Orca seems to be aware of a ruined spawn, and Ideal just does not check that window. Goes down to the spray from the K1A, one of the best SMGs in the game, if you ask me. And that's a Yana gone. A lot of potential intel lost. Orca getting another Nom the Nom added to her collection. She's just running and gunning, stopping that delivery entry now as well.
Orca coming alive now, really being disruptive, and well, even a GN in chat. Oh, not only is the GM, but the smiley afterwards as well. That's respect right there. Using some psychological warfare with that one. And science even getting involved there, but Sturksy's able to get a trade off there. Orca's off the board, and oh, GN question mark, smile face response. Oh, I love it, man. All chat back and forth are some of my favorites casting games, especially when there's no bad blood involved. So 4v3 advantage now sits to the defensive side. Dumfries has those bullet holes to try and fight with down towards Hookah, but it's going to be a tricky position. Air jab's getting deployed to cut off and choke out any potential rotates via lobby. An aggressive peek there, Cairo. That's disrespect, but traded out via the window. But the early advantage that Coconut Cracked had is going to pay dividends now, because they just get 1 for 1. You lose your mute, but you still have that player advantage in this 3 versus 2.
The Hyde once again left in an unfavourable situation. They found themselves in this sort of situation before, and now the Hyde is down. So it's all on Dumfries. Again, a sub. No, sorry, TXC is Dumfries' sub to pick up the 2k at the very end of the round. Nicely done. And triple Coconut Cracked. They find themselves on the better end of a 4-2 split after the defensive half.
Oh, I've never thought of calling them triple coconut cracked.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so many extra syllables, Jerry.
I've got to try. You got to try about 20 different things before we find it. It's the most cumbersome name I think I've ever come across because coconut itself is a 3-syllable word. So you've got 10 syllables in the single title of their team. That's nutty. Coconutty even.
I'm trying. Oh my. Oh.
I'm sorry.
Puns, Jerry. Why must you do this? Why must I be brought here just to suffer to your puns? But a great shot there from Orca to find the opening kill. Again, this is just going to be Orca coming alive in these kind of final few rounds of the defensive split, finding those extra kills. Cairo, with the disrespect of that trade-off, he's going to be able to get that kill, but that window was his demise ultimately. But coconut cracked. Oh, it is so cumbersome. But
Yeah.
But I also like the fact it's such a cursed name.
Yeah.
It's like we're so used to like clean, like, you know, you got your like last
Lion's
night,
Creed.
Exactly, Lions. Last night I got to cast Disrupt's women's roster, and it was so clean just to say words like disrupt. It's such rolls up the tongue, but no, I really want to see coconut. We cannot abbreviate anymore. We are going to call it coconut crack, even mid play by play.
If they win the whole damn thing, can you imagine? Coconut cracked. Take it. Oh, you can stretch it out for so long. It's a caster's dream in a few different ways, but also a nightmare in others.
You can make a proper. I mean, you got so many pun opportunities. You got so many syllables to play around with. Sneak something in. It really is.
We are milking this one though. It's got to be said.
Oh yeah, a bit of coconut milk isn't too bad though.
No. Welcome to the dark side.
I saw. I hate myself after that one, Jerry. What have you done?
He has turned, ladies and gentlemen. We have made a punner of him. The bullet hole that they fell to before is not going to fool them this
That's
time.
the top text, bottom text, just there. The bullet.
The bullet hole, bottom text.
I mean, name a more infamous bullet hole ever. Like maybe there's one in stock on Clubhouse, but that one in theater, that's a menacing one.
Oh yeah. It blends in so well as well. Like, there's no way you drop into bathroom and expect that. Well, I mean, it is fairly common, but you can't fight it. JMXC finding the first kill onto the nom. This vigil being preferred by both sides, and finally Ideal will grab a kill to his name. In fact, that's his third of the round, taking down Orca. A key pick, you could say. Orca, I mean, to be fair, the whole of Coconut Cracked have been stepping up. No one underperforming, no one overperforming. It's been a very even split of kills across the entire lobby. In fact, it's in strong contrast to the last game that we saw. This is a very kind of balanced coastline, and I'm just waiting for someone to light up the server, someone to go, okay, here's a 3K, here's a 4K. What you got to say?
It feels like this is a bit of a powder keg match. I think
Yeah.
it is very much a potential that someone's going to go, all right, chaps, I'm just going to go, kill the entire server. It could be the Heat now. Is he going to be able to find Dumfries and give his team that advantage? 4 versus 3 to ensue. And they hold on to the line now. They're doing a good job of doing so. The Lion Scans coming out and a great crossfire established here. They're really covering each other absolutely supremely. It's going to be very important that they'll win their isolated fights.
Oh.
Well, that grenade! Paging BC! We've got one from downtown and a brand new applicant to the School of Throwables. Ideal, though, finds a kill on the Call Me Dictator. Brawl ensues just outside. The plant's going to go down, but the revive on Maestro is very much possible. But they're not going to offer it now, biding their time, trying to get these kills away. A C4 toss up to no avail. It's going to be hit, getting aggressive, finding a kill, and now in a 3 versus 2, technically, it's King Cairo. Will he be able to see that Maestro deny him? He doesn't need to worry about it. Gets the kill on the active gun, and now only one to go. It's going to be King Cairo versus Sturksy in a 1 versus 1. Nomad versus Capcan. No impacts available for the Spetsnaz operator. The plant's going to go down. Surely it is. The yellow pings are there from the down Maestro. A very critical moment. A swing comes out. The pre-fires aren't going to be accurate though. And this is going to be a brawl around the reinforced wall. A tricky one. The grenade kill finally confirms the Maestro. Sturksy spotted out and slain by King Cairo as Coconut Cracked claim round number 7.
Beautiful stuff from the Nomad. Incredible clutch there in the 1 versus 2. You could see how tense that was, the push from Aqua. There was a good 20 seconds or so that the line of JMXC was just standing in the middle of no man's land by that pool table and just trying to expect the peaks from the defense. Did actually manage to slay one of those SAS operators, the pesky Smoke of Ideal at the time. And from that point on, I had hope for CCC Cracked. They had a chance. Look at this. Just the balls to stand up here, constantly be flicking between those two positions, expecting the peak to come through from somewhere. A great peak there from King Cairo to take it down to the 1v1, and then played this post plant to perfection, getting the kill onto the Capcan. Sturksy, he's going to be disappointed in himself. He knows that he's better than this. He's had a rough season so far, and it's just not working out for him. Sturksy, again, has to slay his teammate TXC. When will he learn? He's basically got the full Wind Bastion set across all of his operators. He has to be very selective what he plays from now on, as Sniper Monkeys once again will start around with a man deficit.
What a passionate man, bringing out that. Call him Pasta. Yeah, I mean, spaghetti skin indeed. Oh, geez,
I think it was Pasha.
Listen, I call it spaghetti skin. Listen,
Well, it works both ways.
it does. Call him Pasta because he's got that spaghetti skin. No, I'm thinking about it. Perhaps not.
It's to pair with the mozzarella of Sturksy, if he's got it. He probably doesn't.
Well, I'd imagine he doesn't, considering it's, not whitelisted.
That's true.
I mean, that's probably one headgear that doesn't give you a map blending advantage. Maybe
really
unless you're maybe the mural on Villa, that wall by Triple Wall by Statue.
Yes.
I remember when the mozzarella skin launched, people were like, "Oh my god, it's a passion skin too."
I mean, everything blends in with that. The Wind Bastion blends in with that horrifically. You can have a Nomad standing on it and it just doesn't appear. But yeah. If only they design skins that wouldn't be horrific to spot. I'm very much looking forward to the kind of silhouette thing that they've got working on, because they've teased that this is a thing that will be built into the game soon. It was a part of a bug for a while, and then they came back out and said, hey, we've got something like this in the works, which is better. So I'm very looking forward to that. Sturksy is the first casualty proper of the round, as Orca on the entry does a fantastic job of clearing out that Molly from Penthouse.
The advantage is a strong one right now, as Orca's going to fall, however, so the advantage held by CCC Coconut Crack. Sorry, I didn't mean to abbreviate. Oh my, I said I wouldn't do it. Is going to be reduced, and it'll reduce even further as Ideal gets aggressive around that aqua door and finds the kill on the Comedy Dick. 3 versus 3 to ensue. Minute 35 remains. Cairo, the hero of the previous round, in a great position here. Inside of luggage. Spots the player, that's going to be Ideal. Doesn't read the cross back to his right, though. Doesn't find a lot of damage, actually finds no damage indeed. Lobs out flashbang to try and clear utility and find his entry away, but Dumfries is going to be able to use that C8 to sing a great song of death as Ideal falls to the grave. 1 minute 15 remains. Hit in a great strong position by smoke couches, but again, can he capitalize upon this? The pressure begins to mount, and this is going to be a critical moment. The E1D Lion Drone is going to get deployed to try and lock down these defenders, make them uncomfortable, and lock them in position. But this position held by Malusi could be critical to this against C4 as well available, so the Plumpton is there, but Dumfries just gets aggressive, continues to slay on out, but the Nom is the last one standing in a 1 versus 2, make that a 1v1, finds a 3k in the round, can he make it a quad? King Cairo once again, a 1v1, but no, a quad kill for Jaeger, as Sniper Monkeys continue to show they've got fight left in them.
1v3, a 4k for the Jaeger. What a highlight for him. And that is just superb for Sniper Monkeys. They needed some way back into the round. We said this would be a powder keg match, and that someone was going to light up the server. Well, turns out it is Nom Nom.
Oh, that was absolutely incredible right there. Just the fact, the fluidity of transition from kill to kill there was absolutely supreme. Sturksy out of that fight early, a great pre-fire by Orca. Ideal playing picture perfect here, tucked in that corner, getting his team on the level playing ground. But this 3k, this just finds that kill, transitions perfectly to the pool table, finds his third in the round, and well, just cleans it up. A great shot on the Cairo there, who couldn't make lightning strike twice and find it yet another clutch. So we find ourselves now in a 5-3 advantage for Coconut Cracked. Can they push themselves onto match point right here, right now? Is they're going to be attacking the kitchen service site?
Look at this lineup on the attacking side. I mean, I'll get into the defensive setup in a moment, because that's also somewhat interesting, but you've got the Capital smokes and firebolts. You've got smokes in the hands of Glaz and Monty. This is a delivery rush or a kitchen window rush, if I've ever seen one. It could be either, quite honestly. The kitchen rush, probably more likely. Delivery, rather, sorry. The delivery rush, probably more likely because of the presence of that Monty, the way he can just force his way into sight and doesn't have to bother with a vault into kitchen window, which can expose him somewhat. So, it's a case of whether the utility on the defense has been stacked heavily enough in that direction. We see quite a lot on the kitchen side. So, but they do have 4 barbed wire. I assume that some of that has gone down in delivery. We still don't have every single jammer out. Presumably some of those are being left to the roam and allowing Ideal and the Hyde to really just be a nuisance, but that might not even be a factor unless they've opened up vertical holes. Orca providing some kind of distraction while the main push comes through delivery, I expect. Orca going solo through Pink Bar. Meanwhile, JMXC has forced his way in here, just opening up the barricade to burn out the Aruni, but there is that vertical hole being played from Penthouse that we mentioned, and this smoke, it might not be enough cover. Depends. The C4 could be sent into it. TXC will open up the fragging with a kill onto Orca, so that sort of decoy now no longer effective. Ideal finding Corby Victor as well. That's a vigil from above. Gets a second onto another player. A third. In fact, no, sorry, this is a run out from Ideal. What is Vigil doing? He's reduced it to a 5 versus 1. That's, what? That's a 4K from the Vigil. How did that happen?
I believe there was 3 kills from above, and then he goes, I'm gonna head out. Straight out that window, straight out Penthouse, and continues the brawl with. He kind of went, okay, you know what, okay, my teammate nommed it up. Oh yeah, nice little quad kill, nice little clutch there in the previous round. You know what, I raised you. Aggressive run out, completely shutting down an aggressive play. They're trading tit for tat now, and I like this, because it's showing some life for Sniper Monkeys, as only 1 round separates our teams in this matchup now. The advantage still sits with Coconut Cracked, but can they find themselves pushing on and getting match point here, as we're going to be going to Blue Bar and Sunrise. The split site getting brought up by Sniper Monkeys, and this is one of my favorite sites. The level of versatility it can bring, the number of different ways you can hold it, gives a lot of options for teams, and I wonder, can that variety, can those numbers of options be used and set up properly by Sniper Monkeys to completely deter any aggression or any style that Coconut Crack try to bring out?
That was beautiful. I really want to see that from Ideal's perspective. I'm sure he'll be sharing a bit of that maybe later on. It was obviously a fairly standard thing to just have that vertical angle and be outthinking your opponents, but then also to go for that aggressive play at the end, just pulsing with confidence, thinking, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go for the run out. I can trust my anchors to provide enough pressure to that doorway and maybe grab a frag or 2. And he grabbed 4. So, power to him. Fantastic stuff from the man. It's exactly what we've been expecting from him after his first Playday showing, and well, he's continued to be an impressive performer throughout, but now he's doing it for a side he doesn't even usually play for. So, good sub right now, at least in that round. And yeah, we're finally getting to see some of that kind of individual action from a couple of players. The 3Ks, the 4Ks are coming out big, and Coconut Cracked. They've now only got a 1-round buffer after a lot of, well, success from Sniper Monkeys on their defense the past couple rounds.
A bit of a stronghold getting set up here inside of Office, reading into the intent of pushing it from Coconut Cracked. And I just imagine with this much pressure inside of Office, I wouldn't push this. I would rotate away because this is dangerous, but Sturksy gets aggressive. The opening kill is Orca falls. Sturksy playing a dangerous game, gambling with the devil around those around those bookshelf shelves. And this is a tricky position now to find yourself in for King Cairo. Does he continue to apply pressure? Does he know there's 2 players inside of Office, or does he just rotate off, try and recover this round, fall back and regroup with his team? Sturksy's gonna get stunned from the breach above. The yellow ping is there for information, but Nom the Nom finds on the Dumfries a 5 versus 3 and Sturksy, a fantastic shot there, finds from the JMCX, but Cairo's there for trade up, but cannot find 2 as he's shut down by Nom the Nom. And call me Dick the now in a 1 versus 4, an AK-12 ready to brawl, but cannot find anyone as Nom the Nom is there to close out that round and tie us up 5 rounds apiece.
Nom the Nom subbing in there for the fantastic work that Sturksy had done, denying the entry. 2 apiece for them, and I believe another extra one somewhere along the lines. I believe it was Ideal. I'm not even sure who it was. Lovely work from the whole of Sniper Monkeys to just sort of force their way into Office as it was being taken. Here's the start. Sturksy with the first one onto Orca. Lovely shots. Every single one of his kills this round were fantastic. There's Nom 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 with their second, and that was the pick of the bunch. Lovely little peek onto the doorway. Did get fragged out in that situation, but Nom 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 there for the return. And in fact, it was a triple for Nom Nom Nom. So the Jaeger actually steals the limelight at the end of the day. We're seeing a 6-pick from a Clash onto an Echo. I can't think what that would do, but at the moment, Coconut Crack aren't even bringing a Zofia, so they were clearly not worried about the presence of a Clash, I don't think.
Yeah, I have to agree to that one. I mean, these last couple of rounds have been super entertaining. I really think that Sniper Monkeys, since the side swap, have somewhat found their stride, found their ability to play more aggressive and more in rhythm with how they like. And once seeing the fact that they've been able to claw these rounds back is a massive sign of improvement throughout this matchup. Coconut Crack, though, they haven't found the same level of efficiency on the offensive side. They've been struggling to get into the ebb and flow of this matchup, so can they find that pressure now? Sturksy, as you mentioned, on that Echo. On a site like this, there's so many options to get floor banged if you're an Echo. Oh, especially if there's an IQ on the board, but he's lucky. No IQ's going to get brought out. So he can sit there, he can sit on his cameras and almost be scot-free. He has to be careful if he is in one of those high traffic areas where verticality is very popular. He's going to have to keep his wits about him, but we see him there in Hookah Bar, so he's going to be safe for just a little bit in this round.
We saw a little bit of interesting interaction going on there that doesn't get highlighted enough. JMXE dropping that first EE1D, and we saw Ideal sprinting across Penthouse to escape, activating his ERC cloaking device, and that allows you to not be pinged by the Lion Wub Wub. So, the real name escaped me, so I'm just calling it Wub Wub. Ideal, though, is now retaking this position inside of Theatre, trying to fight against that bathroom drop, and now that Hawk has made their way through into the Penthouse itself, she has a lot more ground to play with. That's forcing Ideal back. Doesn't know which direction that peak is going to come from. Instead, moving into 90, but doesn't even know if there's anyone inside of VIP either. It is, in fact, only the drone of Orca who's actually going it alone. Meanwhile, there's actually a push going through and a plant being attempted, but TXE is underneath and has the angle onto the player behind, but not onto the planter. Wait. He will go down successfully. Hinkairo failed, and TXE does manage to claim that plant denial. Very lucky as that was in the dying seconds of it.
That was a very much more, but two with one C4 finds a triple kill in this round, and Orca now in a 1 versus 5. A minute 15 though, working limited utility, low HP as well. Sniper Monkeys look set to be able to punch their ticket on the match point. The Ash being pressured from these long positions, trying to dart into 90 to look for an option, look for a way. An aggressive swing from Ideal and slap to the Shadow Realm. Can Orca build upon that and find more pressure? The MP5S, you hear it rattling off in the distance. Tracer marks through that opening inside of Hookah. Will Orca have any options other than to take a direct fight here? I still think 1v1 is tricky considering there's so many crossfire potentials. A horrible fight by Vase, but Sturksy is going to be able to take the better fight there, and Orca falls. Sniper Monkeys find themselves claiming round at number 11 and getting themselves under the coveted ground of match points. We go all the way to round 12. The end of regulation required to separate these teams, and overtime still very much a potential. But can Coconut Crack finally get themselves rolling on offense when it matters the most now? Round number 12 and Kitchen Service, what could be our potential final battleground.
A new hero that round for Sniper Monkeys in the name of TXC. Those vertical plays, the first one to deny this plant. I thought he was shooting up the cover of the buck behind. But look, wait, what? I feel like they didn't even down. Oh, was it the Evil Eye that downed him? I'm beginning to doubt myself because TXC managed to secure the kill, but it certainly didn't look like they were shooting the planter. Yeah, so it was the Evil Eye that managed to get the down, and then TXC confirming it, but the double C4 pretty much confirming the entire round after that early plant attempt. And I don't know whether that was with intel. Certainly with the Evil Eye it would have helped, but to a fairly sort of common cover spot when going for that Aqua execute, netting 2, that was all done and dusted. There's no way back into the round for Coconut Crack there, despite the best efforts of the remaining attackers.
Yeah, so again, you probably mentioned it. I was just checking. Yeah, it was the Evil Eye. They got that kill. I mean, I got the down. That C4. finding those two players, I think that completely ended any momentum for Coconut Crack. They just didn't have a way of bouncing back against that, and the defense strategies getting brought by Sniper Monkeys have been, they're not bleeding edge. They're not anything unique, to say the least, but that's not a bad thing in a map like this. They're playing these core default strategies very well, and they're finding massive amounts of success from them. And Coconut Crack, they're just suffering on their, whether it's their entries, whether it's their mid-game, they just can't catch a break. They can't find a way into this map right now, and that's why we've seen such a bounce back from Sniper Monkeys.
Speaking of Sniper Monkeys, this is their chance to claim their first win of the season. So, will they do it in regulation with this round, or will they have to force themselves onto overtime? Oh, very aggressive positioning here from Ideal, who's gone all in with this Vigil, pushing up into penthouse and is rewarded with a kill onto the entry of Orca, who's been playing somewhat as a kind of solo entry, just droning herself in a lot of these situations. I do question that in terms of linking up with the team. Perhaps it's to provide a bit of a distraction. A lot of the times that is the case, where you see Execute coming down very quickly from the rest of Coconut Cracked, but unless she wins that one at the start, then you're very much hampered. And we've seen now 4 rounds in a row for Sniper Monkeys. They could make it a 5th, but oh, that wasn't that shot. Never mind. Sturksy finds a kill onto King Cairo and further impedes the push from Coconut Crack. A good refrag, though, onto this Vigil that was being so pesky, taking them out inside of luggage, I believe, that Ideal had rotated all the way around to, being caught out by the long angle from VIP. Potentially.
Great trade-off there, at least getting rid of Ideal. TXC gets one on the Call Me Dicta, so a 4 versus 2 ensue, and Coconut Cracked have been reduced to just 2 solitary survivors. Dumfries looks to try and take this fight down towards Cool Vibes, as JMCX is going to be able to get that kill, making that deficit only 1 player. Can they claw this one back and get themselves onto overtime? Gonna be creeping his way. Top white stairs. Less than a minute remains. We hear the Skeleton Key doing its work, picking the lock in these vertical positions, trying to displace anyone from their power position. You see that blue silhouette though by Kegs and Master in that bathroom. That could be a critical position, and it looks like the cover's there on that Twitch right now, just trying to defend this verticality. Oh, that's going to be a very close engagement though. The Buck nearly losing his head from that SMG-11 below. That timer taking away, draining away. 30 seconds remain in this round. A C4 primed and ready. Will it find its mark? Cascade down the white stairs has to happen now. They need to make this execution stick. They have no time to waste. Nothing has to be wasted. Caution must be thrown against the wind. 18 seconds left to go. The camera's still in play. They're tentative, taking their time, but I don't think they have the time to spare. The player in the stall is in a great position, and this is going to be the hit. Going to be able to counter this play, and yes he is! 1 pumps down the book as Sniper Monkeys claim round number 12 and their very first victory of the season.
5 rounds in a row to come back from the 5-2 deficit. They were staring down the barrel of only 1 point for the Playday maximum for the longest time, but they said no, we're going to win 5 defenses in a row. Ideal subbing in and producing the kind of performance that I'm sure the Princesses will have been hoping that he brought instead earlier on, but it's good for Ideal. At least he gets his his fix. He gets those kills, the key frags to make the difference. That opener on that round certainly made a big difference. Nom the Nom with some impressive kills of their own as well. 11 at the very end of the matter. And that is it for us today. Sniper Monkeys, they found their first win. Coconut Cracked also on 1 win, so they are now tied in the standings, and it leaves just Minutemen right at the bottom without a win. But this has been a real shake-up of the standings in this whole Playday. You got to see a fair chunk of it yesterday yourself, Whippet, but already we've seen some impressive upsets. Today, the Imperium of Mandem taking down Princesses earlier, that was huge, and it just bodes so well for the rest of this season.
Oh, certainly so, and you're kind of mentioning some of the games that happened yesterday in terms of upsets. Team Triton falling to Lockdown Ludens in a very close matchup completely has left the top side of the table open for the taking for these midfield teams to be able to make that surge. And again, a very important win for Sniper Monkeys, finding their first and really kind of giving themselves some foundations to build upon and potentially launch a push into that midfield positions or even further on that top 4 position if they can continue to string some wins together. Hopefully they'll be able to get their roster back to full strength and not rely on Ideal coming in to help them through that. But again, great upsets this entire Playday, and what a way, kind of, we're almost at the midpoint of the season, and now everything looks real interesting. I tell you what, next week, keep your eye on these matchups, because I think we're going to be seeing a new team sitting at the throne at the end of tomorrow, or next week's Playday.
We certainly could, and next week I cannot wait for it because it starts off with a bang. Princesses versus Triton, first thing on Monday. We don't care about EUL. Come here, watch that. That is going to be nuts, I can guarantee it. So just have both up, it's fine. But yeah, I cannot wait to see that match. It's going to be an absolute bomb. The rest of the matchups look fantastic as well. You've got Coconut Cracked versus Imperium of Mandem also on that first day. And then on the next day, Froggers versus Randy Ravens, two very middle of the pack sides. No separating them, really. It's really going to be exciting.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And well, Jerry, you're saying, oh, how come? Do come here instead of EUL, because this is going to be all the action. You don't need to waste your channel points betting against G2 for mods to snatch them away, or going all in on any particular team. Oh, I've lost so many channel points this season. It's not even funny. Oh, it's a proper problem. But I'll recover my funds, for NAL. I've got to go all in on Mirage. But enough rambling about that for me. I believe that's everything from us tonight. So, Jerry, it's always an honor to sit beside you on the virtual caster desk. They're always a pleasure. It's always great to hear your voice. Do you have any closing thoughts for the people at home?
Thanks. Well, before I say anything, just a joy to cast with you as well. Massive thanks to anyone that's come along and watched this. We do enjoy ourselves here at BUAL. We have a bit of fun with it. And if you stuck through 2 coastlines, well, you've been rewarded. 8-6, 7-5, that's entertainment in my books. And a massive thank you to Noah and Science behind the scenes as well, doing the production and observing for today. You've been fantastic, loving all the replays, all those wonderful camera angles that Science is managing to capture as well. It's just beautiful stuff. So a big thanks as well to Peak as well, who does all of the sort of back end work for this, and Santa and everyone that's working around him. And yeah, massive thank you to the players as well. You've made a fantastic day of it. A lot of subs for that final match, and just to keep the game going. It's really entertaining to see. So I'm glad to see so much kind of enthusiasm going into not just the production and the watching, but also the playing of this league. That's about it. Thank you very much for watching. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful evening, what's left of it, and we will see you again next week. Goodbye.
Conquer the night if I can make it, if I try to draw the red light. I could run through the fire, I could conquer the night if I can make it, if I try to draw the red. I could. Conquer the night if I can make it, if I try to draw the red light. I could run through